flavor, like ice cream or...
Mint ice cream is a no. I actually have like a little bottle of like Wrigley's extra peppermint gum on my desk right now. So generally, I quite like a mint.
I think I'm similar. I'm not a big fan of mint flavor. I like mint, like the actual, like the actual leaves, like in food, and I also quite like the actual leaves, like the food, and I also quite like. Jonk will know, but you guys might not. Polo mints that I sometimes buy.
Oh yes,
just something to suck on.
Those little circular guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, little donut-shaped mints. They are pretty good, to be fair. Yeah. Mint is generally my mint of choice if I'm having a mint.
We have those. It's just a different brand.
Yeah, I try to eat too much because it's a lot of sugar, but
I always get the sugar-free ones. But then I end up eating like 30 of them, and that's a bad time.
Yeah, they're very Moorish. Try not to have too many of them.
Yeah. But I think of Linux Mint. Which one is that based off? Is that's a Ubuntu or something? Sorry? Yeah. I don't have strong opinions. I think I don't know. I'm not like a big Linux guy. I use it at work, but I don't run it on my own like home machine or anything. Just because I find it a bit tedious. Like I don't know. It's kind of I'm happy to I want my computer to like do things. My hobby cannot also be my operating system.
Yeah, you know? I am. Despite being a web developer by trade, I'm not hugely into Linux like at all. I think mainly like similar to Jonk, it's I feel like you have to really be into tinkering like with computers as a hobby to want to use Linux because it just feels like a constant battle to do things. And some people enjoy that, but like I use Windows as a tool. Like I want to do something, and Windows is the easiest path to doing something.
Exactly. Yeah. When you're on Windows, it may not be the most pleasant experience. Like there's a lot of crap they've introduced over the years, like especially like the AI stuff at the moment. It's just I don't care and I don't want anything to do with it. But like ultimately, it does for the most part just work.
It does its job and it does it quickly. Because I know a couple friends who have tried switching to Linux, and half the time it just ends up turning into them shopping around for distros because it's like, well, I like this, but I don't like the way the screenshot tool works, or I don't like this or that. So I like they spend like a month shopping around at different distros, and then they just go back to Windows anyway. And so I'm just like, okay, this doesn't really seem like for me.
Yeah, that exact experience is what I had with Linux. I used to have a dual boot for my Windows computer that booted into Linux, and I was like, oh, I'll use the Linux as like kind of a distraction-free workstation, but I'm like, oh, I'm a content creator, so I can't use like any of the stuff that I use because none of it works.
Yeah, like Premiere Pro or whatever.
Yeah, well, I used DaVinci, but that also doesn't work. So
yeah,
it's bad.
No, for me, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that's my thing. Is like I like the tools that I use, just because like I'm familiar with them and I can get what I want done as quick as possible. So like having to learn something completely different it's the same reason I don't use GIMP. I just use Photoshop because I've always used Photoshop, and GIMP might be better and it might be free, but I every time I use it I'm like, oh, this is awkward and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like this.
Yeah, I mean exactly the same for me. For some reason my killer app for Windows is Paint.net. Which is completely ridiculous, but like there's nothing else in that space on Linux that's quite as good. Like I know Critter or Pinter or other ones ending in are also available, but it's like nothing cuts quite the same way because Paint.net's kind of it's a slightly better Paint, and it does exactly what I need to do. I don't know.
Yeah, for like quick texture work, it's pretty nice to use.
Exactly, and like I've been using it for 15 years at this point or whatever, so I know exactly. I know the workflow and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like
if it
oh
sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I feel like I'm even worse when it comes like I only use Photoshop because it's the only thing I've ever used. I used Canva for like everything that isn't I can't do in DaVinci, and that like I have to explain to people like I pay for Canva Pro because having all of the assets and being able to search for assets and alter assets to get exactly what I'm looking for to make like a diagram or like a graph or something is perfect. But I could never do that in Photoshop. It would just be awful.
I actually resubscribed to Photoshop like yesterday for one reason and one reason only. It's because I needed to skew a texture by 45 degrees. That's the one thing that like Paint.net can't do. So we spent like 20 quid or whatever
Yeah.
to get a Photoshop subscription.
That's pretty great.
There's a couple things like with GIMP. Obviously, a lot of I think Paint.net as well. Like a lot of the functionality comes from the like user-generated plugins. But I've tried searching for them, and like there was one specific one that I think I wanted. I think it was for, like to add a stroke, like to the like an outline to a thing I was working on, and it was like the only plugin I could find was out of date, and it was like I was searching around to try and find an updated version of this or like a way to install it, and I was like, this is more annoying than it's worth. I could just use Photoshop and have this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Photoshop is great for that particular like kind of thing where it's like, I guess, heavier duty image editing. Like, yeah, doing something like a stroke that's equal distance around an object on Paint.net, that's just a nightmare because like you can just take what's already there, enlarge it, and paint it black, but then all the edges don't line up properly and it's not equidistant, and you've kind of got to fudge it a bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, anyways, welcome to UFR number 43 or 42.
Thank you.
I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sure everyone came here to hear us talk about Linux for like 20 minutes.
Yes.
But yeah, no. Hello, everybody. Of course, we have the developers of Better Than Adventure, who I'm very excited to glaze for the entirety of this podcast.
Very excited to be here. To be glazed.
Hello.
Would you guys like to introduce each other, or you introduce yourselves individually?
We'll introduce each other. Mac is here. He's the original lead developer of Better Than Adventure. He started the mod in July 2021, and made like a couple of Reddit posts and things about it, which I then picked up on. Mac, tell them about me.
Yeah. So, Jonkadelic is one of, I don't know if you're one of the first people to join the Discord server I made for the mod back when I made it, but you were definitely early. I know that if you go to the Minecraft forum, the original Minecraft forum post that I made for Better Than Adventure, if you scroll down, Jonk is there on the first page.
I'm there.
He was Jonk was an early follower who, every time I said, or somebody said you should add this, like for example, you should add shift clicking in armor, Jonk would immediately do it and then send me the code as a private DM on Discord, and then I would copy and paste it in. And then it got to the point where I was like, honestly, if I'm just copy and pasting Jonk's code into the game, I might as well just give him dev access. So I made a GitHub for the mod, and it's been magic ever since.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we're glad to have you. Do you guys want to like talk a little bit about like what BTA is? Because
for the people in the audience who are familiar.
Because I'm sure everyone knows what Minecraft is, but I'm sure not as many people are familiar with Better Than Adventure.
So I do have a few notes on this. Unless John
go on. Take it away.
So, Better Than Adventure started as my kind of attempt at sort of making a more finished version of Minecraft Beta 1.73, which is a version of Minecraft from 2011. I think at the time I was like slightly getting back into Minecraft, and I was getting back into sort of playing the older versions that I used to play like when I was a kid. And I found a mod called Not So Secret Saturday by Dirt Piper.
Classic.
Which is basically similar thing, but for Minecraft Alpha. It was kind of a revitalization of an old version of Minecraft, adding new bug fixes, new features sprinkled here and there. And I thought, oh, this is cool. I kind of want to do something like that for the version I grew up with, 1.7.3. So when it started out, it was just a few new blocks and features. I think I added like stone bricks and a mesh block that items could go through but mobs couldn't, just like things that I thought would be cool to add to Minecraft at the time. I had ideas for crazy things like seasons, and updated world generation that at the time I thought were kind of pipe dreams that I wouldn't get to do. But then Jonk joined the project, and in the span of about half a year, we went crazy. We added all of those things and more with 1.7.6, and then the mod kind of blew up. And so since then, it's kind of evolved into mine and Jonk's sort of personal perfect version of Minecraft. Kind of, it's grown its own identity, basically, beyond just being an expansion for Beta 1.7.3 into more something that its own version, independent of Mojang, which is why we like to call it a fork.
Yeah, I have a hard time. I guess we could bring this up a little bit right now, but we did a SMP on Better Than Adventure that I think you're aware of. We ran something called Upon Further Survival, where we had a bunch of YouTubers all playing on Better Than Adventure, which was really interesting for a variety of reasons. It was really cool to see. It was really cool for like the aspect of just having the SMP put together, but it was also cool to see people's reactions to various bits of game design that aren't in modern Minecraft. Like the of course the lack of sprinting is like the main thing. Because if you throw someone who's played modern Minecraft for long enough into Better Than Adventure, they're just not like that's the first thing they will like notice and miss. But yeah, it's hard to explain. It was hard to explain what Better Than Adventure is, because it's kind of a disservice, I feel, to call it a mod when it is an entirely separate game, I feel, or almost entirely separate game from anything else, really.
Yeah. I mean, BTA is a mod in the sense of the mods that were around at the time that BTA branches off from, if that makes sense. Like these days, when you're modding Minecraft, there's a sense of like intercompatibility, right? You've got your plugin loaders like Fabric and Forge and NeoForge and Quilt or whatever, right? And that allows you to, because of the abstractions that those people have put in place, it allows you to use a bunch of mods together in ways that otherwise might conflict because they might be overwriting the same bits of code or whatever. That wasn't the case back in 2010, 2011 when you were modding Minecraft. It was literally, you had the source code for the game, you had maybe the one mod loader that existed, Rizugami's mod loader, which allowed you to do a little bit. You could add like new blocks and things like that, but it wasn't super extensive, and there was still very little compatibility. So when you had a mod in Minecraft at that point, it was one mod, right? You could have like one or maybe two things, and that was it. BTA is a mod much more in that sense, in the sense that we're not aiming for compatibility. Any idea of compatibility with Beta 173 mods is, been thrown out the window so thoroughly that we now have our own modding scene for BTA.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, nowadays, I think the big thing that kind of didn't really exist back then is the idea of this like big kitchen sink mod pack that just like takes a bunch of mods with a bunch of compatibility and throws them in together to make something new. Back then, other than things like maybe like early Feed the Beast and like Yogbox and stuff like
Yogbox.
that. Yogbox. It didn't really exist. Mods kind of, because obviously. The big thing back then was like jar mods, which would literally just change the decompiled class files, and you just drag files in. So there was no compatibility at all. Like things like Aether was barely playable with anything else. Things like, I don't know, like numerous tech mods like Buildcraft kind of had to be played by themselves. So you kind of
even stuff that just added like new vehicles to the game, like Flan's vehicles mod or whatever. You could have planes in the game, but you couldn't have anything else. Just planes.
And I think that mixed with like the fact that the game was really early at the time, it was kind of bare bones. Like it kind of felt like a blank slate, meant that people would make like mods that completely changed the game. Like you play Minecraft with a mod added, like one mod, and it would feel like a completely different thing.
Yeah, that's
kind of what we're trying to go back to with Better Than Adventure.
Well, there's also, that's how you get a lot of old Minecraft Let's Plays have individual episodes of the Let's Play where they will have one mod in their world for a period of time, and then they'll take it away for the next one because you couldn't have them stack. And nowadays it's like you have Let's Plays that are on one mod pack because you have all the compatibility, but you didn't really have that back in the day.
Something like Greg Tech New Horizons, right, where it's about 300 mods by different authors, but all agreeing to the same contracts, essentially, in the code. Having something like that in 2011 was unthinkable. It's amazing how far the scene has come.
Yeah, and I think and like not to get too far into it, but that's kind of what we do. But the mod scene in Minecraft in general, I think, has changed a lot, where a lot of the mods that are being made and get a lot of traction nowadays are are either they are mods that add new content, but in a very, I don't know, what's the word? Like, I guess safe would be the nice word for it, but
modular.
Yeah, it's in a way where it's like, they're not trying to give you a very specific experience. It's kind of a broad thing, and it comes from I think it comes from like the people not like back in the day. People would just want to put whatever they wanted in the game, and now it's like people are making mods kind of for an audience more so. I think.
I mean, yeah. I mean, an early example of that would be like TechEt Classic, for example, back in 1.2.5. Yeah, I think you had Industrial Craft and Buildcraft together there, and both of them had their own kinds of copper that weren't interchangeable. That kind of thing, right? Where you have like the mod adding everything that it wants to add, even if it steps on the toes of other mods, right? That just doesn't happen anymore. You have mods with other dependencies on other mods that happen to do the things that you're looking for. Everything's very, very modular and atomic.
And I think that is why people generally confuse BTA with a mod pack, because that kind of overhaul mod just doesn't really exist anymore. Like if it exists, it is a mod pack. It's something like all the mods, or I don't know, Meatball Craft or something like that just like adds like 300
Is that a real thing?
mods. Yeah, I've Meatball Craft have been playing it. It's pretty hectic. It's got like 9 chapters in it.
Can you make meatballs in it?
I think you can. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think that like when I found BTA, it was because I was looking for a mod that fixed or altered a lot of the issues I have game design wise with Minecraft, personally speaking, and like specifically in regards to crafting. There is not a mod that I have found that has any level of traction that changes Minecraft's crafting in a way that makes it better. Because frankly, Minecraft's crafting system is horribly designed for like the vast majority of standards. Like it's just
what don't you like out of it? Out of curiosity.
My main contention is something that you guys actually address in BTA, which is one of the reasons I like it. My main contention isn't that, I like the 3x3 grid. I don't like that the game itself never gives you any of the recipes in it, or helps you unlock them or find them in the world in an organic or interesting way. So you either memorize all of them, go to the wiki, or use the god-awful in-game crafting book that sucks, which is, and I don't like any of those 3 options. That's my main issue.
I mean, Minecraft is and kind of always has been a bit of a wiki game, like not to the extent of something like Stardew Valley, for example, but it pretty much pioneered the idea of like a game that needs user-generated documentation alongside it, so you know what you can and can't actually like do. I am kind of gonna disagree with you on that point though, because I think not knowing what there is and isn't in the game is fundamentally important for the experience of new players. Like, I'm going to talk about an experience I had recently playing Vintage Story, right?
I love Vintage.
For anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's kind of it's a spin-off of like Terra Firma Craft or something, but it's its own game. And I really like it because it reinterprets a lot of those Minecraft mechanics in a way that it's basically Minecraft without the debt, essentially, of being Minecraft. Anyway, so Vintage Story. What was I saying? Sorry.
Are you talking about crafting?
Yeah. So the crafting in Vintage Story is. I've completely lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
I was going to make a really good point, and it was so clear in my mind.
It's all good.
You were talking about how it doesn't show you everything that exists in the world. So
Right.
There's some,
Yes.
like idea of discovery there, right?
Yes, exactly. So I was playing Vintage Story, and I was going in pretty much blind, right? Like I would occasionally check the wiki, but it was and the wiki for Vintage Story is not that good. No hate to like the Vintage Story community, but like mostly what you've got is just what's in game. And there was such a feeling of like, I don't know what's here. I don't know what this game is capable of doing, and therefore it could do literally anything, right? it's that feeling of unknown unknowns that is, I think is really important to like the kind of sandbox survival genre. And that's kind of one of the things that we try to do with BTA is like have that feeling of unknown unknowns. It's why we don't include any content from later versions of the game. We try and put our own spin on it.
Yeah.
But like, I think having the crafting recipes be fairly obtuse in that manner is kind of important in that sense.
I agree. I agree. My issue isn't with the recipes themselves. It's with the fact that you cannot. I agree with everything you just said. My issue is less with the fact that there are things in the game that you don't know exist, and more that there is no way within the game to find them. Like no one will ever figure out, or well, I shouldn't say ever. It's like monkey on a typewriter type shit. But like eventually someone will figure out how to make a beacon, but it will take them an insanely unnecessary amount of trial and error if they never go to a wiki.
I think that's part of the reason I've never really gone into the big tech mods is because a lot of those recipes, because they're limited to Minecraft's recipe system, end up just being like pages upon pages upon pages of going through like JEI, going, okay, I need to craft this, and then I need to craft this and this, and you'd never figure that out by yourself. Like these games are designed to be wiki games, which is why they package stuff like JEI in, and it's like too much. But I think that's.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say I think that part of the beauty of base Minecraft and like why I think it's such a well-designed game at what it does is because it is just completely as simple as possible in pretty much everything it does. Like I've played a fair amount of like other survival games that try to sort of gamify it a bit more. Like they'll have like a list of crafting recipes or something like that, and I just feel like a lot of the time it's like you'll open the crafting recipe, you get so many recipes, it's a lot of information at once, and it can be like kind of hard to go through menus. And it, I think part of Minecraft's fun is it's very diegetic in all the features it adds.
Agreed.
So like you're crafting something, you're literally dragging the items into a slot. 2 sticks and a line of iron bars makes a pickaxe. Like that makes sense. It feels very diegetic, like you're actually crafting something. And I don't know. I think that makes it really easy to just jump in and play. So I do like that. I do kind of. I do agree. It is a definite problem that I think it only really got away with because it started in like early access where it was kind of expected that you wouldn't know what you were going to get going in. And then it kind of grew that community at the same time. So it's like, well, you don't know how to make a pickaxe. Like everybody knows how to make a pickaxe in Minecraft.
Well, yeah, if it
came out today, it would be different.
All of the crafting recipes, they were on Notch's website when the game was being updated. So it was like you were part of the in-community that knew about the recipes on his website. And
but also the recipes themselves and the things that you were crafting with those recipes were so simple that they were fairly intuitive. You know that there are torches in the game. Oh, how do I make a torch? Let me think about this for 2 seconds. Well, I have coal and I have a stick. I'm sure I can combine these in some way that makes a torch, that's a lot harder to do at this point because the things that you are making with these recipes have gotten so much more abstract, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was saying. Sorry.
No, you go.
Is like when Minecraft first came out, it felt like you could jump in and just intuitively figure out most of the game because it's like, okay, there's blocks, you can break blocks, you pick up the block, you can place it. Okay, that's the game. And then with the crafting, it's very similar. It's okay. I've picked up sticks and I have some stone. If I put them in a vague shape of a pickaxe, I get a pickaxe. Wow, that makes sense. Like, yeah.
Yeah, there's not much abstraction to it. In a couple of ways, it's a precursor to games like Breath of the Wild and Red Dead Redemption 2, where everything that you do in those games is very, very physical, right? Like everything, every interaction that happens kind of in the world. Like Breath of the Wild, if Link's cooking something, you actually see him putting the ingredients in the pot, and they cook, and then you get a thing. And like, sure, the animation is slightly tedious, but there's a sense of groundedness that's happening there that I think Minecraft really, really pioneered that intuitive interactivity with the world.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just fall off when it comes with the crafting system. I think I just fall off when it comes to the less intuitive things because like I'm fine with the sticks, pickaxe, chest is just a square of wood, furnace is just a square of stone, like all that I'm fine with. Once we got to what an enchantment table is, then everything after that I still cannot recall how to craft a brewing stand. And like, for the record, if you know what an enchantment table looks like in the game, it makes sense how you craft it.
Yeah.
If you have but assuming you have never played the game before and you never see an enchantment table and all that the game tells you is that it exists, you just have like no fucking
You
idea.
have to reverse engineer it.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I think and this was going to come up at some point. I think create is a really good example.
Yes.
I know. Create is a really good example of things being done right in that scenario.
Yes.
Because I don't care about the crafting recipes in Create so much, but like the fact that everything that happens in Create is done with these kind of intuitive, physical, real world connections, right? Like the conveyor belts also being used to rotate things and drive things. I haven't played Create a ton just because I don't really play Minecraft anymore. But like everything I've seen of Create, it's exactly the kind of mod that I would want to make. Because it really gets the intuitive physicality of Minecraft.
Yeah.
I absolutely
Create
agree.
is one of the first like tech mods where you could put it into vanilla straight and it would actually improve the game and it would fit completely.
It's one of the only tech mods I think they could.
mod.
Yeah, I think they definitely could add something similar to Create to the game, and it would feel very Minecrafty. Because, like I said, it's very diegetic, like the rest of Minecraft. You know, I never personally got into a lot of the tech mods where it's like I call them like furnace mods, where you just have an array of furnaces that, like, okay, this one smelts iron into steel, and then this one pulverizes it, and then like if you're looking at that,
put it
like,
into an energetic recombobulator or something.
Yeah. But I think my issue with that is if you're just looking at it head on, you have no idea what these machines do because they all look the same and they don't look very intuitive from looking at them. But with Create, you can kind of just look at, okay, the iron gets sieved through from the gravel, and then that gets crushed, and then that gets turned into this or that. Like I don't know. It feels very Minecrafty. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you want to go back to like a super early example of that. It's like industrial craft versus build craft in a sense, right? Like I don't know if you're familiar with these mods, Lucid. These are from way back in the day, but I
played them back in the day, but it has been a while.
Industrial craft is like you've got like. It's another like furnace mod, to quote Mac, right? Like you've got a bunch of like machines that you put things in and they turn them into different things, but it's essentially just blocks that do things, right? And you've got buildcraft, which is it's all pipes and quarries and things that kind of physically interact with the world. Like you make engines that push energy into things from like that kind of split, I think.
I always like buildcraft
interesting
for
to
that reason.
analyze. Yeah, it's
honestly
much more physical.
Half of it as well is this is really monkey brained. It is just fun to watch something interact in an interactable world. Like Minecraft's all about interaction. That's one of the reasons why people loved Pistons, because it's like, wow, it's a way for like Redstone to interact with the world and push
you can
blocks.
watch
like,
it
that's
happen.
Revolutionary.
Yeah.
But with Buildcraft, the one thing I was always just completely blown away by with Buildcraft was the quarries, because you could just build a quarry and you could just see it carve out a little hole in the ground, and that was just like awesome to me.
Yeah, same thing with like computer craft, for example, as well. Back in the
Alan's
day.
shit.
Yeah,
Alan loves that fucking mod.
Yeah,
that's how I learned programming, is fucking computer craft on random servers that you have to go on the forum to find the IP, and then it's shut down a week later.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, the classic Minecraft experience.
Man, I miss going to minecraftservers.com to find whatever my obsession would be for the week.
Dear. Yeah, those were the days. I don't know how people discover Minecraft servers these days. Is it still like forums or
no?
Well, I mean, the Minecraft forum is still active. I don't know how many people still use it, but I think
6
these days it's gotta be Discord, right? Like that's the way everybody.
No, Discord's definitely.
Play games now.
I think 90% of the people who go on a forum, or sorry, go into a Minecraft server that has like more than 100 people, those are all like 5 Minecraft servers. Like they're the conglomerates that everyone is attracted to, and then there are like little people who go into other such servers that are like smaller but have their own niche communities, I think.
It's the Facebookization.
Exactly.
Sorry. It's like the Facebookization of the Minecraft server like landscape, isn't it?
And it's not even
Back in the
just
day, everyone had
Minecraft.
their own website.
Like, we have
Those were the
talked about
days.
this so often on this podcast, where it's like, okay, well, games are getting more and more like, join the hub world and then go and play this mini game that's part of the bigger game, but it doesn't actually have like its own identity.
Yeah.
And it's all kind of like just put into a big vat and then stirred up, and it's like an everything soup.
Yeah. Have
Whereas
you guys
back in the day, you went to a forum, you got the IP, you joined that server, and the same 10 people played on that every day.
I know.
I mean, I suppose
using
like those
Wiki
servers
too.
still do exist.
They do, but I feel like the way that games are designed now, it doesn't funnel them people into those places as much anymore.
Correct.
I imagine in the case of this like podcast / community, that's mostly focused on like the TF2 matchmaking kind of thing.
No, well, that's definitely it's definitely a part of it.
Yeah.
It's also. Have you guys played? Either of you, have you guys played web fishing?
No,
I have not.
I've heard good things, but I don't understand it.
I made a video about why.
From what I understand, it's more of a chat room kind of thing than a game.
Well, like I made a video about why web fishing like it was so successful, and I think it's because people are sick and tired of multiplayer where the focus is on let's compete and beat each other at this game, and not like let's have fun and make friends.
Yeah, they want a more social experience.
Like if you ever like what I remember going to Minecraft servers back in the day that were just like literally like 15 people who all lived in different parts of the world. They all knew each other. They went on the same server every day and they just played Minecraft. Whereas like now, like when I got into Minecraft again, like way later in life, in 2019, 2020, when I had my own PC, I tried to find servers like that, and they're just gone because it costs money to run a server, and all of the servers that are run are going to be kept really insular within a friend group. So those servers just don't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I remember finding because there's been a few times where I've just had like a wave of to go back to Minecraft, and it's always like beta 1.7.3. I go back to. I remember like maybe a decade ago now. I just went looking and I just found this like random beta 1.7.3 legacy server that was just a tiny little community. It was invite only, but I was playing that and I was like, damn, this really does feel like playing Minecraft in 2011. This is really, really good.
I mean, that would only have been in like 2014, 2015, right? You weren't like miles divorced from like that particular era of the game.
That's
anyway.
True. Well, maybe like 2016, 2017. I don't really know, but it was still in that sort of like era, I want to say, where like those kind of Minecraft servers were pretty hard to find.
Right.
Especially, I think specifically the part of it that made them feel very unique was because they were very old, and back then plugin support wasn't what it is today. There was very little permissions and all this like moderation stuff you now have on servers. Like you'd literally join a server and you could just like place blocks and you could build anywhere. And like you'd collaborate with a bunch of people to build a little town, and it felt very fun.
If you grief something, it wouldn't like auto stop you. It would let you grief it, and then some other mod would come along with world edit and just reverse that chunk, and you'd be like, oh well. It's
It felt very natural. Like
now,
like I think nowadays you don't really get that. Like you join a server and it's like you have to go 10,000 blocks away and find a plot of land to build on, and then you like have your permissions, and I don't know, it doesn't feel as collaborative. It feels like you're playing single player in the same world, kind of.
It's kind of the 2B2T-ization of the Minecraft landscape, in the sense that you can't really trust anyone else in any real sense, which means you're effectively just playing single player with like an IRC connection, you know?
Yeah, which you could just open Discord and talk to people.
Yeah.
So like what's even the point? That's why I really wish that there were now granted I'm biased because me and Alan live in Asia, so we can't interact with most of these, but I wish there were more BTA servers. Because of this, I don't. There are some, and I just joined one that I got whitelisted for recently. I still need to like actually play in it, but like I feel like the community around BTA would be the kind of people who miss that kind of Minecraft server more so than like the hub based kind of cringe one.
I'd like to think so, yeah. I mean, part of the reason for that is because you can't really have hubs at this point, just because the server tech for BTA isn't.
It's still beta
enough to do
netcode.
that. Yeah.
I do think it's interesting you bring that up. You actually made me. You reminded me of something, because I'm mostly focusing now on like trying to increase BTA's web presence, because I feel like it could be less centralized around the Discord. One of the things that we've talked about a lot is the idea of having our own like server website where you go on and it shows a list of servers, kind of like what a lot of websites like you used to have. All these websites that just showed like listings for servers, but they'd be like specifically trusted servers that we've verified and said, okay, the server's fine, it's good, we are okay having it on our website. So, you know, maybe you go from better than adventure.net and you go to servers and you can like just find one and just load in and play.
So like affiliated servers or something.
Yeah, affiliated servers, yeah. So maybe that will make it a little easier to find, like, just, I don't know, small survival servers where you can just log on and play with some guys and make some friends.
Yeah, I think, well, I don't know, I highly doubt this would be feasible, actually, but, like if people could just join each other, like that's another issue I have with Minecraft as a whole. It sucks that you have to download a mod to just play with a person,
like Essentials or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
So we can technically do that. Like what that's called is it's called like IP tunneling, and it's basically a way to directly establish a network connection from like one PC in its own network through a router to a different PC in its own network, right? And that is possible, but you need some kind of intermediary to do it. Like this is how like Steam Play works, or Steam networking, or whatever, where there's no server host, it's all co-op, but nobody has to give each other their IP or anything.
Yeah.
Because it's all done through like the central Steam administrator.
Yeah, you have to go through Steam, it's the middleman.
Yeah. We would have to set something up like that ourselves to make that happen, which we could do. And I mean, like as Max says, we are getting more and more into like the web side of things. So it could potentially happen. It's just the kind of expense of keeping that. Like we don't accept donations. There's no money changing hands here at any point. So everything that we do and everything that we host is essentially out of pocket, you know, and that's kind of a disincentive to doing something like that.
Yeah,
adds up.
Yeah,
Alan would know. He's been paying for a server for that SMP that we don't play on.
I mean, we've been
revive it.
Yeah,
we've been hosting a private server for BTA for literally, I think, about 3.5 years now.
From pretty much as long as BTA has been a thing. Because I remember setting it up because people asked me, like, back when the server was new.
And like, at that early point, you do need some kind of... You need to host your own server because, like, no one else is going to do it at that point, you know?
Right.
That's no longer an issue. The whole thing is kind of self-perpetuating, but, like... I think honestly the server world needs a reboot at some point because it's kind of played out.
That's a difficult question.
Yeah. It is a difficult question because like the world itself is fairly old and quite well developed. So like the idea of telling the people who've spent, you know, years or whatever working on it that, you know, we're just going to delete all your work and start again. It's a hard sell.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, we need to give them a world download because they keep talking about it and we keep not doing it. So we need to do that. Yeah. There's Apollo in the chat saying the exact same thing.
Yeah. So like, we might eventually. I would like to eventually take it public when we have some kind of better moderation tools in place. But who knows?
That's another goal. Part of us sort of improving our web stuff is we would like to improve the moderation tools on servers. Nothing like extreme, but like the ability to like see chat logs a bit easier, or like to ban members directly from the GUI if you're a moderator, or like setting up like specific roles with permissions, kind of like on Discord. So you could have helpers, you could have moderators, you know, just stuff to make it a little easier without, like you said, having to download a mod or a plugin just to have any kind of functionality.
Well,
when hosting
the basic kind of quality of life features that you would expect, that you would kind of automatically install a mod for if you were setting up a Minecraft server, things like that.
Because that's going to make it easier for us, because we tried setting up a public server once, and it was an absolute nightmare. We had no idea what was going on. Our moderators didn't really know what to do, because, like, you know, something happens, like, 2,000 blocks away, somebody DMs you saying, oh, these guys did this, these guys did that. It's like, well, I don't really know what happened. So we need better modding tools.
Yeah, that was when the BTA Discord was at about 2,000 people, I think, and we decided on a whim one day we were going to take the private server public, and so I did an at everyone. The private server is now public, and all 2,000 people in the Discord tried to join at once.
That was a disaster.
That was about. Imagine if we did that now. We've got nearly 25,000 people on that.
Oh, it'd just go down immediately.
It would go down. It would essentially be a DDoS, wouldn't it? But
you lost yourself. Good job.
Yeah,
it would be.
All right. I have more questions, but I would like to take.
Absolutely.
I would like to take a small detour, because people have been looking at this UFR logo for a while. I wanted to show off a tweet that I found, that I thought was interesting, and I wanted you guys' thoughts on it. I say I found, it was in my recommended, and it was relevant to this conversation.
Sure, that's a kind of finding.
This is a tweet that went viral recently. It's a simple tweet that it goes as follows: which item had the best glow up in Minecraft? Have you guys seen this?
I think I have to wait for the stream to update. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, this is a difficult question because, I mean, obviously that's a better sprite, and I'm not super duper familiar with the modern Minecraft textures, not for any I hate Japper textures or whatever. I don't play the game that much these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I don't think I can even recall what some of the Japper textures look like. I think anytime I go and play a snapshot or something, I'm like, oh, is that what the clock looks like now? That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they're good textures. I think they're all good textures. But I'll say a slightly controversial one. On the totem, because I've seen that tweet as well. I actually think I prefer the one on the left.
For the only reason, a shrivelly little guy.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've said this before. I think part of the beauty of Minecraft's aesthetic is it's very amateur, or it's, I don't know, very, very simple. It doesn't have much of an art style, and I think that kind of fits this sort of indie feel the game had when it first came out. This very hobbled together project, and I don't know, I like the old textures.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go first. You go first.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, the thing is that Minecraft is obviously it's very much not that anymore. It's long since ceased being an indie game. So I understand.
True.
And at that point,
it's not something they could go back to, and it's not something I'd expect them to do. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does make me sad every time I see that, they changed the planks texture, or they changed I don't know, with the ores textures. I understand why they did this. I like the old ones.
Sure, but I mean, the beautiful thing about Minecraft that's been a thing since 2010 basically is you can swap out the textures however you like, and
that's
I think
true. That is true.
I mean, how many other games give you the ability to do that? True. I can't think of any apart from ROM hacks.
My thing, right? I think that the issue that I have with the newer Minecraft textures is that they didn't change all of them, right? They changed some of them, and they changed them gradually, or they changed others drastically, in my opinion, a really inconsistent way. So now the game doesn't have a very interesting art style. If I want to be nice, the game looks very bland to me, because it lacks that quote unquote amateurish kind of cartoonish almost look. It doesn't really have.
It's less
that anymore.
Contrasty. I will give it that. The new textures are less contrasty.
They blend a bit more, and I that might be what I don't like about them, because I don't really like the shading on the new textures. I think they're a little too smooth, and a little because of that they feel noisy. The old textures had a lot of contrast, and I think it kind of fit the blocky look a bit more, because it felt a little cartoony. Also, going back to that tweet, the best glow up is a golden carrot. That old golden carrot texture is horrendous.
Oh, wait, where is it? No one put it.
It was down a bit.
Oh, wait, hold on. Oh yeah, no. This is,
yeah.
That one is not. I have no idea what the fuck they were thinking with that.
It just looks like a dick.
It does.
It just looks like a cock.
Pretty painful. I mean, to be fair, that was changed literally 2 weeks later. So I mean,
Yeah. Well, that one
That's
wins.
true.
It wins. Congrats. But yeah, no. Like I feel like an alien when I talk to people because like I like the old cobblestone, netherrack, glowstone textures because of the contrast, the cartoonish look. Like, I look at modern Minecraft and like I feel like there's a reason everyone feels the need to put shaders on everything, and like and put faithful on everything. It's like, oh, because I want Minecraft to look not like how it does, and it's like, well, maybe because Minecraft used to look like very distinct and now it just doesn't anymore.
One of the things I like about
the shit, and I liked it.
Yeah, one of the things I like about the programmer textures, especially for like BTA, is that I can just make those. Like I am not skilled enough in pixel art to make textures that look like Japper textures, right? I'm crap at it, to be honest. But like I could put something together fairly easily for BTA that looks all right. But because everything else in the game looks all right, it works.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, and that's part of the fun. That's why we have a bunch of really, really good artists on the project, but I generally try to stay away from saying that we have like a particular dedicated artist like Japper, because I like the idea that people can just submit a texture and we put it in the game. Like, it feels like a very collaborative community thing, and I feel like that's part of what made Minecraft a lot of fun back in the day, was that like
it means we get what works best.
Yeah, and sometimes like me and John can add textures in, and I to be honest, I really enjoy texturing. I'm not very good at it, but I like it's like a very, I don't know, calming process. So it's
the enthusiasm that counts.
It's fun. It's a fun thing to do. So whenever I have to make a new block texture, I'm like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
The only one I think that I like the newer one more than the older one is the glass. That's like the only one where like, even though the glass is more cartoony, I think it's because glass is a functional block as much as it is an aesthetic one. Yeah. So, and the fact that there are pixels in front of where I'm supposed to be looking does take away.
It makes it hard to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of an intentional choice, isn't it? Like, it's not. It's kind of meant to be obviously there.
True.
I guess.
Yeah,
I thought the best middle ground was the old texture, but with Optifine, where it stitches
connected texture.
Oh, the connected glass. I do like the connected glass.
We've got to add that at some point.
I've thought about it. I've thought, like, why have we not added this yet? It feels like such an obvious thing to do,
and probably not that hard.
We'll have to look into it.
I'm gonna delay the release of 7.3 to add collected
Yeah, sorry.
It's funny. I was showing the new one of the new features in 7.4 is going to be, because obviously we're doing a nether overhaul, and so we've all been working on a bunch of nether biomes, and one of the ones that we've been working on is the crystal forest or crystal caves, which have these big red towering crystals. And I was showing some of the work I'd done off to a friend of mine, and he even said like, oh, these crystals would look really nice with like a connected texture kind of thing. So like they're darker in the middle and like kind of lighter on the outside. And I thought, yeah, that is actually kind of a good idea, but we'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Have you seen this stuff, Lucid? The new the new biomes and concept art and stuff?
No, I don't know where I would have seen that.
It's on just on the BTA Discord. Like. Oh, that's true as well. But like on the BTA Discord in development screenshots, there's a bunch of stuff there if you scroll up like to like mid-November last year.
Junk, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Is the wiki down? The dev wiki?
Oh God, I hope not.
I tried going there and I got an Nginx 404, so I thought it was.
No, it's definitely up.
Oh. Okay.
I'm looking at it right now. Are you what URL are you going for? Just say the URL on the stream. No one will notice.
Hang on, I'll find it. Don't worry.
I'll throw
I've almost definitely typed it wrong. Oh, yeah, I did type it wrong.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna throw this on screen with no sound, just so people can see what you're referencing. While this is playing, what are you guys' thoughts on the Nether and how it should be?
Desolate.
Okay,
Desolate.
cool.
Empty, dead, warm.
it's a
wish
shithole,
perhaps-
basically. Like it's the kind of place you go to and you go, oh my god, no, and you turn around and leave.
Thank you. I've been arguing with people about the new Nether since it came out. I fucking hate the new Nether. I think it's awful.
Oh, I really like it.
I despise it for because it does the opposite of what you just said.
I do want to like raise a point with regards to the new Nether and like Mojang in general and what they've done with the game, which is like, I don't dislike what Mojang have done. I love their ideas and their interpretation for the game, because they're trying to like move things forward and reinvent things and bring new interpretations to things, right? That's kind of not what we're doing, though. The difference between like Mojang's Nether and our Nether is that Mojang's Nether is a reinvention of the Nether, right? They take the basic concept and they do something else with it, and that's great, and it's really cool. What we're trying to do is kind of an elaboration on the existing theme of the Nether. Like we're extrapolating from what's already there rather than reinventing it.
Yeah,
and that kind of applies to much of BTA in general, I think.
I think when Mojang went to redo the Nether, they kind of went with a more sort of like, I think they wanted to move away from the hell stuff, because I don't know if they felt uncomfortable with having a hell depiction in Minecraft or something, but I felt like they went for more of like a kind of magical fantasy place with like, you know, the mushrooms and like the blue and red forests. What I think we're trying to do, partially just because we think that it's more interesting, is because obviously Notch was pretty much entirely inspired by Doom and Quake when he came up with the Nether. This like pretty much just a hell dimension. And so we're kind of taking that and sort of imagining, okay, the Nether is an alternate dimension that is so hot that no life can live. So instead we try and figure out like, okay, what does exist there? Instead of like mushrooms or trees, it's these giant towering crystals that kind of act like a form of life, but it's like such an alien form of life that it doesn't process to us.
Yeah.
But, it's still very chaotic, still very quote unquote hellish, but we're not just trying to make like a hell dimension because that's boring. It's we're trying to see how we can make something that's unique but has the same kind of feel.
It's a sense of awe and a sense of dread, right? Like it's a sense of, oh my god, what is this I'm looking at? This is almost incomprehensible.
Like a sense of a place that you're just not meant to be, like a place that's completely detached
Something
from the
is
current
wrong
world.
here.
And also, it's a place that's dangerous, because I think the Nether's the whole idea of it is it's obviously a fast travel dimension, so it should be quite dangerous to traverse, and there should be things you're just not expecting there. And so we're gonna like try and work that into the way we design like new mobs, new blocks, all that kind of stuff.
I really like I'm excited to see what you guys do with the Nether, because everything you guys are saying is exactly what I like about the old Nether and what I do not like about the new one. Like, because I don't want to. I'm trying not to be like too much of a hater, because I do that enough on my own stuff. Where I'm like, I'm not surrounded by other people, but like I loved the contrast of the peaceful overworld versus the hell. Like, I fucking loved that as a concept. And the new Nether just does not have that. It is like a magical forest, and to me that is not, the alien I'm not supposed to be here place. And I mean, it
the
also
fact that you've got like pig guys living out there, and having like objectively a pretty good time. Right?
And that's a good way to put it. Also, like, you have to go there to get to the end of the game. So to me, that also from like a what's the word, contextualization perspective, means that this should be like a more dangerous place. And I guess the Nether is more dangerous than the overworld by virtue of there being mobs that can catch up to you while sprinting, but that's like the lowest bar. So I don't know what to
Lucid, just real quick, I have DM'd you some of the concept art pictures made by our artist Debor for the Nether update.
Oh my gosh.
There's 5 of them there. I think they've been kind of nice to throw up on screen.
Am I allowed to show them?
Yeah, you could show them.
They've been displayed on the Discord.
Yeah, we've shown them off already. So
okay, I'm just making sure. I will put these up one at a time. You guys can just talk if you want. because I
sure.
well, I guess actually I could ask you a Minecraft criticism question, because this is the thing, this is like the most contentious thing that we talk about a lot when we talk about Minecraft.
More contentious is TF2?
No, definitely not. But in regards to Minecraft, this is the most contentious thing. What are your guys' thoughts on the sprinting versus not sprinting discussion?
Ooh, I understand why people... Oh, sorry, I cannot talk over Jonk there. But, oh, sorry, hang on. Jonk, talk over me. I've just ripped my headphones out.
Oh, Jesus. I think sprinting, it warranted being added to the game, in the sense that, like, you know, when you're bringing in hunger mechanics, there has to be some kind of incentive to be hungered up.
Yeah.
But like, I don't think it went super well with what was already in the game, in terms of like nothing else in the game was balanced around it, right? Like the skeletons immediately stopped being, all of the mob interactions essentially stopped being so dangerous, because they weren't, you weren't at risk of dying to them, because you could kind of just turn around and sprint away. And I think that is a shame. Like, there should have been a subsequent rebalance to bring everything else in line with the player's new maneuverability options.
That kind of is the overarching problem, I think, with 1.8 and 1.0, is it felt like they rushed to complete the game. So like they added all these things like sprinting and enchantments and stuff that didn't really mesh with what was already there, but they didn't then bring those things up to make it work. Like you said with skeletons stayed exactly the same, but they added sprinting. And then they just capped it off right there at 1.0, and they didn't really ever go back and change these things after the fact to make them work. They just kind of said, okay, yeah, this is the game, and we're going to like add on to the game after this, but we're not really ever going to go back and fundamentally change how things work to make it feel more, like more challenging or whatever.
It's like they've just been adding stuff, but they never went back to address like the design
debt
that they've incurred over 10 years.
Not at least until like 1.13, and even then they did that like for like 3-4 updates, and then they kind of stopped. So I don't really know. I think I think the cave-in clips that they might have just scared them off. I don't know.
Yeah, the idea of doing substantial Mojang has never been super into the idea of doing like substantial reworks on existing content, and I understand why. But like part of the thing I like about BTA, and the thing that I think makes BTA able to address so many of the criticisms that have come up to Minecraft over the last like 15 years, are that we have the benefit of hindsight. It's a much more retrospective kind of look at Minecraft in general. The idea of like, we can see what Minecraft did that we like, what Minecraft did that we didn't like. How can we reinterpret them in ways that kind of preserve the core of the idea, if we like the base idea, but kind of mitigate some of the parts of it we don't like?
Well, that's that's part of the reason why we just have a hard rule on like just one-to-one porting things. Like even if they're just objectively good ideas, like item frames, people always want item frames, and it's like, yeah, it is a really good idea. It'd be really simple to just add, but I always just want to think like we've got the benefit of hindsight. How could we improve this if possible? Like how could we give people something that has the same base functionality that they want, but adds a bit more of it? Like a great example is what we did in 7.3 with the activator block, which was essentially our answer to people wanting modern dispensers / droppers, a block that could like interact with other blocks rather than just placing things in front of you.
I'm really excited to work with that one. That's probably my favorite thing so far that I know that is in 7.3.
The activator. That's fantastic. I mean, I'm incredibly pleased with how the activator turned out, because it's essentially like it's almost like programmable logic in a sense.
Well, yeah.
Wait,
Alan, do you know what we're talking about? I forget if I told you about this.
No, I don't think so. If I did, I don't remember.
Wait, can you explain what the activator is? Because it's actually the coolest shit to me. So
essentially, it's a block that it's essentially like a ribbon, right? Internally, like you've got 9 slots in a horizontal row, and a pointer at the top that points to a particular slot. And every time you apply a redstone current to that to the activator, it essentially activates whatever is in the slot that's currently being pointed at, and then increments that pointer to the next slot. That means that if there's like a block in that slot, it'll place that block in the world. If that slot is empty, it will right click on whatever it's facing, right? And that means that you can essentially by organizing the organizing the items within it, empty slots, place slots, and locking off other slots and that kind of thing, you can essentially program into that block a fairly complex sequence of actions in a single block in a fairly intuitive way.
Mm-hmm. But it's just represented by a block, a blank space, a pickaxe, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't it can't dig. Unfortunately, that's kind of a limitation that it has currently. But you can do that with like piston crushing and that kind of thing anyway.
I think that the important thing to notice is it triggers right-click functionality. So placing blocks or activating blocks. It is like just we've delegated it that purpose. Like that's what it does, and that's part of the whole being simple thing I talked about before. But it's also very expandable. Because obviously you can make like very complex things like, you could make a system that replenishes wheat and then applies bone meal to it to instantly regrow the wheat by having, seeds in one box and then the other boxes having bone meal. And then that's how you'd program it to do that function.
And you've just got also for like that's running to activate that whenever you...
Yeah, exactly.
But also for redstone people, in a very, very simple way, it allows you to make some kind of like very, very compact memory. Like if you've got like an activator pointing at a lever, every time you apply like a momentary pulse to the activator, it toggles the lever, and then that lever it toggles that particular like memory, and then it holds that state every time you apply power to it.
Yeah, it's
got a ton of depth to it.
Yeah, the idea of a block that allows you to just essentially right-click on another block whenever redstone's applied to it is such a versatile and like classically Minecraft simple. Like it is such a not like this is where the glazing starts, I guess, but like I appreciate greatly how much every addition to BTA is so perfectly in line with the original game design philosophy of classic Minecraft. It's about embracing that physicality that we talked about earlier.
And I think as well the important thing is or at least something that we try and think about a lot is you don't like obviously Jonk's just explained all this complicated memory management that you can do in programming. You don't have to do any of that. Like simply you look at the block, you place items in, and it triggers the function on that item, or it places blocks. That's all you really need to know, and you can already do a ton of stuff with it. Just like really, really simply. So, like, it's not like, oh, you see this and you instantly go, oh my god, how does this work? I need to go to a wiki to understand this. Like, you can intuitively pick up how it works, which I think is good.
I mean, it's that create philosophy that I mentioned earlier. The idea of like, rather than having one block that does exactly what you need to do, right, a very single purpose thing, you have a wide variety of things that get cobbled together that you use to make... They don't do a lot on their own, but together you can use them to make quite complex systems. Like that's what I like about Create, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we want to like emulate in BTA. It's like when we eventually like move into like automation and that kind of thing, it's not going to be pipes, it's going to be minecarts, because they already exist in the game, but they're really underexplored and underdeveloped in terms of what they could be doing, but they've got a really nice physicality to them because you can see like containers of things actually moving along the tracks.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Like the idea of having like sort of Rube Goldberg machines where it's like you can see something travel along a system and all these different blocks apply a different function to it. So you walk into a room and you can study this contraption, you can figure out immediately how it works because I mean all the blocks have simple functions. It's just how they work together that decides the outcome. It's kind of like sort of programming in like blocks, I think, is the way I want to think about it.
Yeah, no, it's I'm really excited to like experiment with that because I I have not. I haven't like gotten into that part of it yet. But I'm excited to once 7.3 like actually comes out. I'm excited to work more with that.
Yeah, exactly. We're super excited to have it out because I mean,
oh yeah,
it's a strong update. I think we've had some really good updates. I think my favorite was probably 1.7.7.0, but I think this is a pretty strong one as well.
it's got a lot of it's going to be really big, I think, for like Redstone players because there's a lot of technical stuff in there. But I also think I like 7.3 because it's quite managed. It's not like we've had updates like 1.7.6 that have just like completely gone off the wall. Like 1.76 was huge. That's probably my favorite update, just in terms of.
And yet we delivered that in a reasonable amount of time.
We did because we were going crazy, and it wasn't very optimized. But
I mean, that's part of the thing, isn't it? We're kind of still paying the debt of 1.7.6
absolutely.
3 years
I mean,
later.
we spent 2 years trying to clean it up, basically, and now we're finally making some headway on new content. But it feels like a very managed update, but a lot of what's in there feels like big changes. Like it feels very like it reminds me of like beta 1.7, which like just added like shears and pistons, which drastically changed the game, but on their own were not that big.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's the kind of stuff I want to keep doing.
I mean, this is the thing. We our goal is and always has kind of been to deliver like small, focused updates at fairly regular intervals, right? Like, not to start throwing shade, but like there are other mods in the community, like most of them actually. Like I'm just talking about like the wider like Minecraft modding community. I'm talking specifically about like the retro modding community who go like years between updates, and we're guilty of that as well. Like 1.7.7.0 took 456 days to complete, right? Like that's borderline inexcusable. But the cadence we are hitting now is so much better. Like I think it was like 3 or 4 months between 1.7.7.0 and 7.1, and like 3 or 4 months between 7.1 and 7.2. It's been 6 months between 7.2 and 7.3, but that's still like a fairly good amount of time, I think.
We've gotten a lot better at it. I think we've gotten better at managing, like, because obviously now we've got like automated systems. Like we've got Jenkins running to automatically build the game, which helps a lot because that was one of the most tedious parts of releasing an update, was actually building it. But also we've got more developers. Like we've got Useless, who's extremely helpful despite his name, who's been like helping us like fix up bugs and add new features. And we've got like having more hands on deck just means that there's less stuff that we're having to physically focus on, so we can like think of like the big picture and go like, okay, what do we want for this update? Let's get to that point, and then let's like just hard freeze on features. Like no more features beyond this point. We're just gonna do pre-releases. We're gonna focus on bug fixes. We do a month or so of that, and then we'll release hopefully and move on to the next thing.
And I mean, the more developers we have, kind of the easier that gets, because like we are guilty of taking months off at a time of development if we feel like it. Like part of 1.7.7 taking so long was just kind of because we didn't for a good while we didn't feel like working on it. But with having more developers like Useless, it's possible to keep that momentum going even when not necessarily there are all hands on deck. And that's been a huge help in terms of like making sure that we stay working to regular intervals.
Yeah. This is completely unrelated, but it was in reference to you. So in 7.3, you guys are adding Skyblock, right?
Yes.
I had a conversation with one of your mods about like what is in the Skyblock chest when you start. Because it deeply disturbs me, and I just needed to say this at some point.
Okay. What about it disturbs you? Because I can't remember what's in it at this point.
So currently, what's in the Skyblock chest is, if I remember correctly, it is just a lava bucket and ice, and nothing else. Right.
So I don't know if you're like familiar with the original Skyblock.
No. I know. I understand. I understand.
Yeah.
I started Skyblock, and then I was like, oh, okay, because I am used to Skyblock, right? Where Okay, because I actually did once this happened, I was on a call with Junko Kitty, who's who's been a guest, and he's a friend of mine, and we were talking about Skyblock, and I went and I looked up like what the first Skyblock had, and this first Skyblock did have those two things, but then it's actually the first Skyblock is actually lost media because it was it was fairly quickly adjusted to where you had like at least the things necessary to make like a sugarcane farm. And and it was just like this crazy like whiplash where I was like, I can't do anything with what I'm given.
Yeah, I mean, I will not claim that like the idea like BTA Skyblock is intended to be balanced or accessible in any way, shape, or form. we have one primary consideration for what we add to the game, right? Which is like, how does it fit into playing survival with all the game rules set to their defaults in the extended default world type, right? Like that's intended BTA. Anything other than that is an exception. You may not be able to do some things. You may be able to do some things that wouldn't be possible otherwise, right? But there is no guarantee of like balance or anything like that. It's like how we have an allow sprinting game rule, right?
Yeah.
It's not balanced. There's no way to you keep sprinting forever, right?
Yeah.
It breaks the balance of the game.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a cheat, you know? Because it breaks that balance.
Yeah. I just needed to like mention this at some point because I wish that there were like 3 more items in the starter chest for.
I'm not
I'm
so
happy
sure
to
our implementation of Skyblock is intended to be a good way to play Sky. I think it is mostly just there so you can point at the screen and say, "Oh, it's Skyblock. I remember Skyblock." It's not like intended. Like what Junk said, it's not really. We've not thought about it too much and how like to balance it or anything like that.
I mean, I think. I will be completely sincere here. I think that Skyblock in general and the demands of Skyblock have done catastrophic damage to Minecraft over the last
oh my lord.
decade.
I mean, I'll say it. I'm not a big fan of Skyblock.
Oh my god.
I never really liked it that much.
Holy shit.
Like this is one of my most controversial Minecraft takes, but I think part of the damage that Skyblock has done is essentially it's incentivized the developers to make everything farmable, right? And I think that is awful. I think that completely sucks because it means that like every item in the game has to be renewable in some way. And that's a disaster because it means that like once you get to that point, you can kind of just stop exploring the world and just sit in your farm forever waiting for the resources that you need to appear. And I think that sucks, and I think a large part of that is down to like the requests of Skyblock players saying, "Oh, I can't obtain this in Skyblock," you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Wait. But okay, so I agree with everything you said, right? But may I offer you why I actually like love Skyblock?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so I don't play modern Minecraft Skyblock because I hate it for similar reasons to the ones that you brought up, right? But if someone pointed a gun to my head and said, play modern Minecraft, you have to, for 2 years, I'm playing Skyblock because it is the only way that I can play modern Minecraft and maintain the atmosphere that I loved so much about older versions. I love feeling lonely in most games, but especially Minecraft. The feeling of being alone and isolated. It's why I like the Super Mario Galaxy games for reference. But that is something that is encapsulated with Skyblock. So if I ever play Skyblock, it's like I wish that there was I wish Skyblock was a separate mode that was developed separately where things just worked differently. Because I entirely agree that farming culture and the idea that everything has to be renewable is bad for the game at large. But in the context of Skyblock, it's great.
This is the thing, isn't it? It's the push-pull, like, it has to be that way for Skyblock to be a comprehensive Minecraft experience. But the question underlying that is, should Skyblock be a comprehensive Minecraft experience, or should you just accept that there are some things that you can't necessarily get because you're playing the game in a limited way?
Well, here's the thing. I think So I think part of the fun of Minecraft and like automation in Minecraft and working with stuff like Redstone is the idea of emergent gameplay. And that's something that Notch talked about a lot when he was working on the game, was he wanted to add this kind of like two features that were not designed to work together, and the community figuring out like, oh, if you merge this with this, then you can farm this, or you can do this or that. And that's, I think, part of the like discovery, the fun of discovery with Minecraft is trying to figure that stuff out yourself. I think the problem with Skyblock is, especially if the devs are designing around it, is you're doing it backwards. You are coming up with a block and you're thinking, how do we make this farmable, rather than these contraptions just existing emergently, because the game's very, very customizable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And the thing with Skyblock as well is because obviously you can't like go out and farm or like find trees or grass or anything in Skyblock other than what people give you, like when they design the map. Everything's kind of handed to you on a plate. It's like, okay, here are the building blocks. We know what kind of tools and automation machines we want you to make. It's just up to you to make them, and it doesn't feel emergent anymore. It feels like
there's a right
the
way
devs
to
have
play,
designed the devs have designed the way for you to farm these things and the way to play the game, and you just like go through the motions. And
yeah, no, I agree. It was also a thing where like you added Skyblock in the same update, or did you add? Have you added? Is reinforced pistons a 7.3 or 7.2?
Yeah, they're in 7.3.
Yeah, so you added it in the same update where that is there, and to me, it's like if you give me one of those, and like that is that opens up so much just from that one. You gave me the ability to crush things into smaller things, and like, oh, that's all I need, and now everything's fixed again. Because what I did was I just like remade the world and then just added like a reinforced piston, I think, and then I played the game. And like everything opened up in the way that I wanted it to, and it was all fixed.
See, and that's the way I want it to work, is that we don't design around Skyblock, but instead, through the things we add, people suddenly realize, oh, you can get this in Skyblock now. That's cool. And like, you don't know about it. I'll tell you what, I actually found online, I found a YouTube channel where this guy had been like playing like a super flat survival world for years. And every time an update was out, he'd list the things he can now get because of things he adds to the game. Like, I remember when 1.14 came out, I was like, there are so many things I can get now because they've added so many things to the villager trade list. And it's like, that to me is so much more interesting than Skyblock, because it's not designed around it. Like, you are working entirely off your own intuition to figure out what you can get, what your limits are, and trying to break those limits. It
turns it into a puzzle game.
Yeah,
it does.
I really like.
I think that's personally, I think that's a lot more fun than Skyblock.
Yeah, I just like the atmosphere a lot. I think it carries it a lot for me.
Oh, I mean, Skyblock as an experience, as like the experience of like, oh, I am completely alone here, and I'm essentially surrounded by like death, right? That's great, and I mean that comes into the whole like Minecraft loneliness thing that we also very much try and capture in BTA, like the idea of the world being like, you are the last one of whatever you are, right?
Yeah.
There's no one else here who are going to essentially impinge on your world.
Yeah.
That's why I'm pretty hard on, like, I don't want to add stuff like villages or NPCs to the overworld, because I don't know, like, something I always liked personally about playing Minecraft was just just loading into a world, and just like half the time I just spend walking around trying to find cool things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just fun. Like, this is my world. There's nothing else like it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this has been generated for me, and these mountains and these like this cool overhang where I can build a house. Like, no one else has anything like this. And I don't know. I'm gonna villages. It kind of takes that away.
I'm gonna connect the 2 points that we've just made in a way that's gonna blow your mind. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like. Right. Designing specific systems for renewables is a very kind of like designed coolness, right? In the same way that designing villages that look interesting is a very specific kind of designed coolness. Whereas like if you're having players intuitively figure out systems based on, you know, exploits and things like that, and what's technically now possible because of what the developers have added but haven't intended, that's the same as kind of like, you know, finding interesting naturally generated terrain that the developers never intended to appear, but it just exists.
Yeah, and John, I'm going to fractal off of that and say part of the reason why I love beta 1.7.3's terrain generation and do not like moderns is because the biomes were very, very dynamic and lucid in how they were made. Because in modern, when they changed the biomes, what they did was they made it so that instead of the biomes just kind of generating over the existing terrain with very, very minimal height variance, the biomes were decided first, and then they went, okay, the terrain in the plains biome is flat. It can't get higher than this. In forest biomes, it can get a little bit higher. In mountain biomes, that's the only place where you're going to get like cool terrain. And I don't like that because it's like, no matter what world you're in, all the extreme hills biomes are going to look the same. All the plains are going to look the same. All the forests are going to look the same. It's designed coolness, like Junk said. Whereas, you know, in beta, you could just find like a desert with a massive mountain in it that like connects to a forest. Like, I don't know, they felt like more suggestions of how the world generates, not necessarily hard rules of like, this goes here and it can only spawn next to these things.
Yeah, like I was watching a video the other day of like some world gen that someone's come up with in modern Minecraft or something, and it's like it had this amazing like glacier biome that was like these chunks of like a completely flat plain but with like chunks of ice, and they were like a glacier that had broken up and drifted apart into different pieces, right? Like flat on the top kind of thing, like snowy, really gorgeous. But I got the distinct impression that every single time you encountered that biome, it looked exactly like that.
Yeah. And I understand why Mojang did that. Like, 100%, I completely get, like, okay, because the terrain generation in Beta 1.7.3 is not very expandable. Partially because it's based on noise maps, so it's like you designate a particular range of temperatures and humidities to be a biome, and the problem with that is naturally when you try and squeeze a new biome between ranges, you are pushing out all the other biomes, so they grow less big, and that's part of the reason why the biomes in beta felt very small, because there was no like control over them. So I could see like in 1.0 they were like, okay, if we want Minecraft to last a long time, we want to add more biomes, we need a more configurable world gen system. I understand why they did that, but I think in doing that they took away some of the soul.
I mean that's part of the perk of the like beta 1.8/1.0 onwards system, is it does allow them to have an arbitrary amount of biomes, which is great.
It is great for them, not so much for me.
I don't know. I think there's more we can be doing with the system without like changing it. Still, I think there's a lot of untapped potential there. Still,
I think so too. I think there are ways
figuring out exactly what that is.
I think there are ways we can combine the systems. I think I've actually thought about this a lot, of like ways we can kind of designate certain areas of terrain as particular types of terrain, but how those generate isn't set in stone. So like you could have like a plains type area, but it doesn't necessarily have to just be a plains. It could be like a plains in a desert, or it could be like a very warm plain. Like just adding more variance, I think would fix the issue. But yeah, I guess we'll have a further discussion about that privately.
But you've got to have those variants be kind of unpredictable, so to speak. Like, you can't. Part of the issue with like the biome ranges of temperature and humidity, that kind of thing, is there's a lot of predictability in it. Like in BTA at the moment, if you get a desert, you're almost always guaranteed to get like a Caatinga next to it, and then like a dry forest or whatever next to that, right? Because of the gradient that's there. That's a good thing, but like it would be nice if we could say, like in some contexts, instead of having like a Caatinga there, you have like a dead forest or whatever. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, like different areas of the world that feel different, rather than I'm in the desert, I'm in the warm part of the terrain generated.
Yeah,
but I still think in BTA it feels a little better than modern, because we obviously have the kind of uncapped terrain gen, where it can kind of, you can have a desert that goes into a Caatinga that looks completely different from a different desert that goes into a Caatinga. You can't really have that with the 1.8 and onwards terrain gen.
Yeah, I think the 1.7.3 generation also lends itself more to creation than the modern stuff does.
I agree with that. Yeah,
which no matter what version of Minecraft you're in, the creative aspect is something the game has always excelled at. And no matter how many critiques I have of modern Minecraft, I will always concede that the creativity aspect of the game has improved, but I also don't know how much that has to do with game design and versus like designing a good creative tool, if you understand. Like, because I don't, because I think Minecraft as a game is much worse than Minecraft as like a creative tool or a game engine or something that you make things with, if that makes sense. I
see what you mean
in terms of like a strictly designed, because like when you talk about Minecraft and you're like, oh, Minecraft is a game where, like, if you're thinking of Minecraft's a game where you get through the game and you get to the Ender Dragon and then you do whatever else, like, that is the game. That is, and I don't think that is very good. But if you're talking about Minecraft if you're talking about Minecraft as like, oh, Minecraft is the game where you make a base and you design your adventure to go the way that you want it, and you talk about Minecraft like that, then it's like, okay, now we can grasp onto something more tangible.
But this is what I kind of mean, right, about like the Mojang being afraid to change that kind of legacy content, in the sense that like the flow of survival is in Minecraft is very, very baked in at this point. You can't go around changing these mechanics because like people start rioting, you know. You saw sort of like the parkour changes the other week, right?
Yeah.
Grumble. Yeah. And like this is going back to like what I said earlier about Vintage Story. It's why I like Vintage Story, is because it feels like it doesn't have that baggage to it.
I agree.
Like, because it doesn't have the name Minecraft on it, they can start doing things that Minecraft isn't allowed to do, so to speak. I mean, they could do it, but they don't. Like Vintage Story has like an expandable inventory, and it has like crafting recipes that require multiple of the same item in a given slot, right? And there are no crafting tables. You just have a 3x3 in your inventory, kind of thing. It's like it's being able to do things like that are against the quote unquote rules of Minecraft, so to speak. And they're entirely like self-imposed limitations. And I'm not saying that they're all like bad. I'm just saying that like they exist, and at this point, 15 years into the game's life cycle, it's kind of difficult to rip up the paper and start again, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why BTA exists, because we can do that. We can just build off of a version of Minecraft where, like, you know, where it was kind of still a blank slate and you can kind of do anything before they locked some certain stuff in. But we can go, okay, what else could the game have looked like? What could we do with it?
Well, yeah,
and because we
have like,
and because we're not, and because we don't need to like make money or anything, we can kind of, if people don't like a particular change, or if we remove something that like people are already dependent on, we can just kind of say, well, fuck you, you know, play an older version. This is how we want the game to be, you know.
Yeah. To an extent, I mean, we do listen. Like, obviously, if people really don't like something, we'll look at ways we could either make it better or like just remove it. I mean, there's things that we've tried to add that people have said, this is horrible, do not add this, and we've just gone, yeah, whatever, fine, it's scrapped. Like we tried adding a form of sprinting. We tried adding not hunger, but like a sprint meter, or like a
stamina system, basically.
Stamina system. You'd replenish it with cookies and like other sugary foods, and we were like, oh yeah, this is gonna like make different types of foods more interesting. And people
got
really
so aggy about that.
For valid reasons, like for similar reasons as what we said with Mojang when they added sprinting. Like the game isn't designed to add it. It doesn't feel like you'd have to change so much of the game to make it work. I think this is a rash change. You should like think about it a bit more. And we're like, yeah, you know what, that's fair.
Yeah, you have to.
And then we added it as a game rule, because it's like, if it's a game rule, we don't have to think about it. You can do it if you want it. And
but like,
that's it.
But for an example of when we did kind of double down on it, like 7.1, I think we introduced a change in BTA, like the healing system. We changed that because like the healing system in Minecraft Beta is fundamentally flawed. So we changed it so that it's kind of a regenerative thing over a few seconds, and different foods regen you at different speeds and that kind of thing. But not hunger, explicitly not hunger. And I think that's a better system. And we all in the dev team think that's a better system. Some people don't like it explicitly because it is like different to like beta Minecraft, right?
Yeah.
But I'm convinced that it's the right thing to do, and it's the right thing for the game, so it's in. You know?
Mm-hmm. I want to address two things. One, I want to address the super chat, but before we do that, I want to briefly say, the argument of if you don't like it, well, fuck you. Like, go turn it off and go play a different version, because people in chat are taking a little contention with that. I think that is a fine thing to say if you are developing something and you're talking broadly about like, oh, I want to put this in my game, fuck you if you don't want it in there. If I were giving like constructive feedback and they were like, well, fuck you, this is my game and I do what I want, that's a little different. It's a little different to deny criticism versus I want this in the game.
And that's what
I'm
I was
going to try and make it work.
Is we do like, because we were getting a lot of constructive criticism about the stamina change, and we did remove it because we agreed with those criticisms that it was a rash thing to do or add, and it was not very well thought out. I think the problem is what I assume Junk is trying to get at is everybody has a different idea of what beta Minecraft is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so that's why we've been very clear to say BDA is not supposed to be a continuation of Notch's vision. It's not like trying to, we're trying to see what the game would have been like if Notch had stayed on development after 1.0. It's very much mine and Junk's version. So like we have some ideas of the direction we want the game to go that might differ from what people think Minecraft beta should be. Some people might think, oh, you're adding too many blocks, or you're adding like too many biomes, you've changed the world gen. No, that's sacrilege. You can't do that. And it's like, well, we think that these changes are for the better. Like, because we put a hard stopper on this is our vision fundamentally. If there is criticism about something like this is bad, if this is a bad feature, we will revisit it. But like if it's like an opinionated thing where it's like, I don't think this personally fits with Minecraft, and we fundamentally disagree with that and say this is what we want to do, then we will sort of tell people, not fuck you, but we'll say like, yeah, this is just the way we're designing it. But I don't know. It's
like we're not trying to be beta Minecraft plus, right? Like we're trying to be something better than the adventure update, right? Like something new, something that you haven't seen before, right?
But it's not a definitive like this is the real Minecraft, like adventure update that's fake. This is real. This is just like, this is an alternative, a potential alternative that might be better for you. Like if you don't like the 1.8 update, you might prefer this. You might not. You might hate it. You might go, oh, I'm going to go to not to Secret Saturday because that's more my speed, and that's perfectly fine.
Love that.
That's kind of why I kind of hope that more. I'm going to call it a fork because that's what I now call BTA. I hope more fork mods exist to give people this kind of variety of like what kind of Minecraft, what flavor of Minecraft they want to play. I think it's a fun. It's like a really fun, like, I don't know, divergence of like modding. And I can't think of another game that has something similar to that. I mean, like you've got like games that have modding communities where they completely change the game into something new to give people like a brand new game, but there's not many games out there that have a modding community where it's still the same game, but it's just a different flavor of the same game.
Yeah. But I mean, like NSSS and other folks like that. But like we do have like competitors in the same space, so to speak, that do offer like other takes on the same idea, basically. Like I don't ever want us to seem like we are saying this is the way that Minecraft should be, right? Like, you know, Re-Endev is providing like its own idea on like, you know, I mean, I haven't played it in any great detail, but it's like it's kind of a lot more experimental, I guess, and that's really interesting because we are more conservative than they are in a lot of ways, which means they are genuinely pushing the envelope in terms of like. There's a ton of stuff in there that I've never seen before, and that's so cool. I love that they're trying to doing that sort of thing. And then like other mods in space like New Frontier Craft and that kind of thing. You've got it's kind of a what if Beta 173 was more of a tech mod, you know? Like
what if we redefine progression and it was like a completely different game from the start, whereas BTA kind of starts the same as Beta Minecraft and then after that goes on into something completely different.
Yeah, we are a lot more like not so Secret Saturday in that sense, in the sense that we are. It's a bit more conservative in its approach. We're not trying to.
We're a middle ground. Yeah, not so Secret Saturday is a lot more conservative than us, but yeah.
To address this super chat because we've been talking for.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Takers United super chatted $5 Canadian. Thank you so much, and said haven't played Minecraft much since 1.15. This mod seems cool, but would you recommend I play up to 1.21 first before trying it? Parentheses play Java like once. Lol.
It's
You
not a
take that
requirement
back?
at all.
Yeah, I just
you-
would not touch. No.
I mean, you could, if you want to, you could play You could play both at the same time if you really want to. But like the idea of BTA is just to offer a different version of Minecraft, so you could play it with no knowledge of what Minecraft is. Like you could have never played Minecraft before and play BTA, and the idea is you're supposed to be able to pick it up the same way you'd play normal Minecraft. It's divorced from any other idea of Minecraft. It's its own thing. So yeah, absolutely, you could play it by itself.
Yeah, because we like the point of divergence from Minecraft to BTA is literally like September 2011, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's literally about 15 years worth of progress being erased there, or 14 years or whatever. So there's no knowledge required other than like a base understanding of the mechanics of the game.
Hold on. I'm just gonna do this real quick because you guys. Okay. Also, I wanted to ask, since you guys have mentioned it multiple times, Not So Secret Saturday. I have not played that. I played a lot of the mods in the space. I have not played that one. So, what do you guys like? What do you? I'm interested. Like, what would you guys do to? Like pitch that to me. I'm curious.
Not So Secret Saturday is a mod for Alpha 1.1.2, which is the last version of Minecraft Alpha before they added before the Halloween update, which added the Nether and added biomes. So it is like the version of Minecraft with the neon green grass, essentially. Yes. The idea of it is, so back when Notch was developing Minecraft before he did the Halloween update, he did these things called Secret Friday updates, which were essentially every Friday or so he would add something to the game and not tell people what it was.
One of those things was redstone, by the way.
Yeah, redstone or like bookcases or like I don't know. I think what was Minecart?
Sneaking.
Minecart was one of them. Sneaking.
No,
yeah,
Minecart's written in dev.
Okay, but yeah, like just this idea of like every Friday something game changing could be added to the game, or it could be something small like a new block. Not So Secret Saturday started from that idea of like, okay, we're gonna just keep doing Secret Friday updates that just not necessarily change how Alpha plays, but just add onto it with improvements. I think one of the main things that they spent a lot of time working on was getting the server netcode finished, because Alpha Minecraft had extremely unfinished server netcode. Like the inventory didn't work, and so I think a lot of their time was spent porting over the netcode from beta 1.7.3 so you could actually play multiplayer. And they've also added small like things like, I think they've got, I mean, I don't want to spoil the features because half of the appeal of the mod is that they are secret, but you know, it's Alpha Minecraft with like some new surprises, basically. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. That's how I got back into Minecraft and ended up thinking about making my own mod, was playing that, because I thought it's nice to go back to an old version of Minecraft with some new stuff in there sprinkled in to make it feel like a fresh experience.
Yeah, like I was deep into a Not So Secret Saturday playthrough when I first started working on BTA. When I first joined the development team, and like that, the kind of ethos there was absolutely integral to like early BTA in terms of like, ooh, does this make sense with like what's already in the game? How does this gel with what's already there? Do we think that like Mojang could conceivably have added this at the time?
Yeah. Well, that's really cool.
That's still a consideration,
really cool. But I have never. I think I've heard of it once, but I've never actually played. I've never actually played the Not So Secret Saturday.
It's very much worth playing if you have like any nostalgia for the kind of 2010s, like early Minecraft period. I think it leans on that fairly heavily.
It leans on it more than BTA does, I think.
Yeah.
One of the differences between BTA and that is BTA can be played by itself, because it kind of tries to port more of the modern like quality of life and optimizations, whereas Not So Secret Saturday is very conservative in it being alpha. It's designed for people that played alpha. You might not like it if you didn't play alpha.
Nice. And I also wanted to ask about New Frontier Craft, because it's another one that I've heard of, but I've never played.
I don't think either of us are like the best people to comment on that, because it is like, I don't think either of us have actually played it. I might be wrong. Mac, have you ever
played
touched
a
it?
tiny bit of it. I've actually not played as much as I played Not So Secret Saturday, but I've known of its existence for a while because I have in the past looked and seen if there were any like beta continuation projects, and New Frontiercraft was the one that I would always see. New Frontiercraft is an old mod, like it.
I know it's like the grandfather.
2014.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it like Not So Secret Saturday is fairly recent. I think it might have either just before COVID or like during COVID it came out.
No, it was like 2014 it started, NFC.
No, I'm Not So Secret Saturday, I meant.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but New Frontiercraft is like from 2014. Like that is an old, like the original fork, basically. And I feel bad that I've not played more of it. But I think the idea of that is to kind of like rethink of like the progression of Minecraft, because they add a lot of new ores and a lot of like tech functionalities to I think
it takes a lot of influence from like the modding scene of the time. I think
it looks I'm looking at it right now because you guys mentioned those casually and I was like, I haven't heard, I know of those, but I haven't like actually looked into them, and they both look really interesting, so I'll have to give those a look-see.
They're definitely worth checking out.
I would also, if you are interested in seeing the roots of BTA, check out the original version of Better Than Wolves. Not the... Because I stopped following the Better Than Wolves after they, like, changed the game into being more of, like, a terra firma craft kind of thing. But the original version of the mod Better Than Wolves was kind of just... The developer didn't like the direction Minecraft was going in after Notch added wolves in 1.4. He thought that they were useless and that the time could be better spent actually, like, improving on the game. So it was kind of more of a pitch of like, here are all the things that Minecraft could have added instead of wolves. So they had like mills with like windmills, and you could make like, or you could automate like a wheat into bread with that. It had like this hibachi grill that was redstone powered that could like cook stuff on top of it. There was tons of like just cool technical blocks in there that was kind of just there to make you think, oh, this is what Minecraft could be when it's finished.
But and
I remember seeing that when it was when like in 1.5, 1.6, it just blown away by it. Like, oh, this is really, really cool. I can't wait till Notch adds the stuff to the game. And then obviously he never did. But that's kind of that's where the name comes from. Better Than Adventure. It's a play on Better Than Wolves.
Is Better Than Wolves is kind of known as like the most hard thing, isn't it? Like nowadays,
that's what I was saying.
It is now, but it wasn't.
But it wasn't when it came out.
Yeah, I don't know when this happened because I stopped following the mod after like I think 1.0 came out, and I kind of like after I fell out of Minecraft a little bit, I stopped following it. Somewhere down the line they completely changed the mod into being this like terra firma craft style massive overhaul where it's like it takes 50 hours to make a crafting table because you've got to like carve the wood and you have to like actually like cook food, and it takes a day to cook.
Mods kill you.
I'm
in, like,
not
2
so
hits
sure I would like it now, but the old version was a lot of fun.
It went from being like an extension of the game to like a redefinition of the game, essentially.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a good mod, and it was absolutely fantastic back in the day to like see someone say like, "Oh, I've got these ideas for the game. I'm gonna add them," and that was incredible, especially given like the incredibly primitive modding tools that existed at the time. I think the difference between like Better Than Wolves and like New Frontiercraft, or rather what we have more in common with New Frontiercraft versus Better Than Wolves is that the Better Than Wolves updated over time, so it maintained parity with like Minecraft versions. Like it doesn't do it very often. Like I think they're still stuck on like 1.5.2, like full release or whatever now. I might be wrong. I haven't looked at it in years.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
But the difference there is that like Better Than Wolves obviously incrementally upgraded over time and eventually like tried to keep parity with like Minecraft. New Frontiercraft doesn't do that. They picked 1.7.3. They're sticking with 1.7.3. The mod will always be on 1.7.3.
Yeah.
Same with us, right? Like we're never going to try and move the mod to a newer version of Minecraft just because like the amount of work that would take would be absolutely catastrophic, and also like there's no incentive to do so because the things that we've added aren't intended to live alongside modern Minecraft features anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
It makes it easy to like add crazy optimizations.
Have you guys looked at Reminiscence at all?
No, what is that?
I haven't.
Oh, it is a mod for modern Minecraft that turns modern Minecraft into old Minecraft.
Huh.
Which it
Interesting.
it has become more popular as of late. I know Call Me Carson's played it. I know a bunch of other Minecraft YouTubers have played it. It is an interesting thing to watch because it is legitimately just like a backport of old Minecraft for it with like modern stuff.
I completely understand like the impulse there because like
Mm.
the tech stack in beta Minecraft is like it's garbage, right? Like we've spent the last 3 or 4 years trying to fix it, right? Like improving things like having an unlimited number of textures, more block IDs, better netcode, whatever you like, right?
I mean, not only that, also you have the fact that the only window into beta Minecraft's codebase we have is through the old MCP decomps, which have really, really antiquated variable names. Because obviously Java strips those. Yeah, Java strips those when it compiles them. And so like Sarge, or Siaj, I don't know how his name is pronounced, but he eventually went to work at Mojang. He kind of just guessed what certain things were, and so there are some parts of the game that are labeled completely wrong. But Mojang now provides their own variable mappings, so it's much easier to load up a decomp of the game and go, okay, I know what this does.
Yeah, exactly. So like I understand like the impulse to do that. I don't think it's for me just on the basis that like as I've said before, I don't really play Minecraft anymore. And that goes for like modern Minecraft, that goes for I don't really play Better Than Adventure, to be honest. I work on it far more than I actually play it.
Yeah.
Which just because I'm kind of I've been playing this game for 15 years now, right? Like I'm so thoroughly burnt out because I've kind of had the experience, so to speak, right?
It's more fun to develop than it is to play.
It's far more fun.
Yeah.
A part of that is like, well, yeah. Sorry, go on.
I think it's really cool that like people can get the vibes of beta Minecraft in modern Minecraft without having to deal with all the like horrendousness that is present in beta Minecraft because of the age of it, essentially. Like having, good networking and expandability and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I imagine part of the interest there is you can combine it with mods and things like that. Like I can see having something that fits nicely with Minecraft philosophy, like Create, in something like Reminiscence, could be a really good time.
Yeah. I sent Mac. I sent you Reminiscence. You can look
I'm
at
looking at this
because it says that it is inspired by you guys as well as a few other people.
Is it
really?
Yeah,
that's really fun. Actually, I like that.
They have your armor system as well as like a steel equivalent.
Oh wow. That's cool. We need to add these guys. We need to add these guys, John, to the More Like Us section then.
Yeah, we do. This inspired by Best in Adventure, Reinf, Dev, Diverge,
this is really cool. I honestly, I'm gonna have to check this out. I like how they like retexture some blocks to make them look a bit more beta Minecrafty.
Yeah,
like I'm looking at the lanterns right now. They're really
because
cool.
they didn't take away everything from modern Minecraft. Like there is still like amethyst and stuff from newer stuff. They've just removed a bunch of things that that a lot of people associate with the newer evolution. Yeah, they take away hunger, sprinting, enchanting villages. They change the terrain generation, of course. It's I have yet to play it myself. I have heard really good things about it. So
okay,
this is really neat. I'll have to try this out.
It's kind of really, really strange going from like being like starting off back in mid 2021 being like, oh, maybe one day we'll get like a few downloads, people will find it interesting, to like going on to be an influence on things other people are making at this point is like crazy.
It's kind of unbelievable. Like I remember a friend of mine sent me a tweet that he got like just on the For You tab on Twitter, and it was somebody talking about our photo mode and how much they liked it, and he was like, I can't believe I've just seen your mod in the wild, and I was like, that is crazy.
Well, I was gonna say like it's impossible for me to play other versions of Minecraft because of how amazing the photo mode is.
Photo mode was such a ridiculous thing, and it's such a good example of like the way we like to work as well. Like do you know how photo mode came about? I was doing a very brief experiment to see if you could make the game look like Project Zomboid.
That's crazy.
I assume you're familiar, but like for people who aren't, it's like an isometric, like 45-degree angle kind of thing, like BTA's photo mode looks like by default. And like I just did a random thing to see like, oh, can I make the game look like this? And I was like, oh no, the game's unplayable like this. This is awful.
Yeah.
But the terrain
But it
looks
looks
kind
nice.
of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I ended up like building a little house in creative and engaging that mode and sending a screenshot in development screenshots, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!"
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is one of those things that consistently, every time I talk to somebody else like that is seeing the mod for the first time, they're like, "Oh, the photo mode is really cool." Like that is.
That's like the first thing I showed to everybody. It's that.
I'm shocked that it's such a revelation, because like I would have assumed very easily that modern Minecraft had something like that as like a fairly default mod like already, but like no.
Nope.
Do you know what's crazy? That's
mad.
one of the things. Do you guys remember Cube World?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh,
yeah,
yes.
that's one of the things I remember people saying was really cool about its minimap, because the minimap at the top right of the screen was a little isometric map of the world you currently had, and I was like, this is really cool. Why has Minecraft never done anything like this?
Well, yeah, because
exactly.
it reinforces the I want to create something, and show it off to other people. It reinforces that, and that's like a key part of Minecraft's identity.
That's why I always, anytime I set up a server, I always use it's called like Dynamap or Dinmap or something, and it like
Dinmap.
It's it hosts a web client off of your server's IP that just generates an isometric map of your world, and it's a really cool thing for collaboration, because people want to build things because it shows up on that map and it looks really pretty. So it's like the same thing with BTA.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. I have one last question, and then we can get on to like the kind of the last thing I want to talk about, which is like future plans for BTA.
Oh yeah.
Oh goodness.
But whatever you're willing to talk about. But before we get there, I wanted to ask, what other games do you guys play and enjoy?
Oh my
aside
goodness.
From Minecraft?
Okay, Mac, you go first.
Okay. It's a tricky one. I don't play that much. That's the thing. Like I mean, I play a lot of games with friends, and I really like I don't know, action games, or like I've always been a really big fan of platformers. I was always a really big Sonic fan as a kid. I do, unfortunately, with because I've tried getting into other survival games, and I feel like none of them have really ever hit me as much as Minecraft, and I think part of that is because they all add a little bit too much of it. I really, really liked Satisfactory. That was, I think, one of the games that like clicked with me, and I went, "Oh, this is Minecraft, but it's a factory game." Like it's just really simple to make things that move that connect to each other, and like just make a really fun big factory.
Yeah, I really like Satisfactory as well.
Yeah. I really like Terraria as well, but I think for different reasons than Minecraft. I wouldn't really want to see Minecraft become Terraria, but it's a fun game to play.
Yeah, Terraria, interestingly, never really clicked for me. I don't know why that is exactly. I think part of it is like I'm to go into like the kind of things that I like to play. I'm a very big like boomer shooter kind of guy. Like I was playing these things back in like the 2000s when they were like new, right? Like Half-Life 2, Deus Ex, that kind of thing. And I've kind of always carried that with me. I find like first-person games in general a lot more enjoyable. So like I think if I have the choice between playing something like Terraria that's like side-on versus like something like Minecraft that's first person, it's Minecraft wins every time, I think.
I think for me, I always like as a kid, I always preferred creating stuff to like make like I don't know, like playing a game, or like like where you're just trying to beat like I don't know, beat your head against the wall to beat like a boss. I always preferred games where I could like, because that's what drew me to Minecraft, was like it's a game with slower pace where you can kind of just like build what you want. I always liked Animal Crossing as a kid on the DS. I always like, I don't know. I think for me, I always like games as like a casual thing. I'm not I'm not big into like competitive games. Like I never got into CS:GO or TF2 or anything like that. So I'm actually I really like playing like RPGs, like JRPGs. Like with a lot of text, because you can just kind of.
Wait, sorry, Zesty. I think Zesty's in the chat. I know he just heard you say competitive game and then TF2, and he probably is losing his mind.
It has competitive matchmaking. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean, though. I'm not
I
I'm
know.
not
Yeah,
big
I
on
know what you
games
mean.
where
I know
you
what you
like
mean.
when not maybe
Valorant or
competitive
whatever.
was the wrong word,
No,
but
no,
games where
yeah.
you like pitched against somebody else and it's like, yeah.
It's just
Competitive
See, I don't play
multiplayer in
I
the
don't
sense
play
that you're
these games, so I
competing
don't
against
know.
someone else.
That's
Yeah.
it's just it's more like it's a sticking point in the community, the TF2
Is
community
it?
recently. Yeah,
That's
talking about
extremely funny. I hope I angered a lot of TF2 fans.
Yeah,
I
But
absolutely.
yeah. But anyway, have you guys do you guys enjoy Deep Rock Galactic at all? I'm curious.
I do. I love Deep Rock Galactic.
I've played it a bit and I had a really good time. It's just getting together like a number of people to actually play it
Yeah.
with, I guess.
I
Like I'm not just gonna dive into a lobby with randos or whatever because
Mhm.
like I don't know. It's not the vibe necessarily.
I
I don't
I,
know.
I will say I love any game that I can just boot in and co-op with friends. That is like a massive
Hmm.
selling point for me. Like I love Risk of Rain.
Left 4 Dead.
Or
Oh
Risk
yeah.
of Rain 2, yeah. Because I can just get a
Mhm.
group of friends together, we don't know what we're doing, and we're just like, let's load up a Risk of Rain run, and then that's it's not necessarily like competitive. It's not very it's not very like stressful like playing like I don't know like a CS:GO match or something. It's just kind of you can just sit in and have fun with friends. Like I really like Monster Hunter. That's another one. Deep Rock Galactic is
Hmm.
another one like that. And also like Minecraft as well, because like Minecraft you
Yeah.
just build a server and you can just play whenever and you play with friends and you build something fun.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice.
Minecraft is great for that
Yeah.
because
Agreed.
the amount of collaboration that you do with people is essentially entirely optional.
Hmm.
Like if you want to base with people, you can. If you want to like go have your own community and go to war with other people, you can. You don't have to though. Like it's entirely optional. I think that's really cool. Is like
Yeah.
the amount of interactivity you have with other people, even in multiplayer, is completely at your own discretion.
Yeah, and that's like, but I do like that cooperation part of it, though. That's why I always don't really like playing on servers where everybody lives really far apart, because I
Yeah,
feel like part of
yeah.
the fun is building a bit of a community and building a city and, like collaborative builds. Because otherwise, they just play
Yeah,
single player.
yeah, exactly. But like other than like boomer shooters, I like sort of the Bethesda style RPGs, like
Mm.
the kind of open world ones where you're running around a place. Like what have I been playing recently? I've played a little bit of Oblivion. I've played a little bit of Skyrim. I'm about 2/3 of the way through the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That's been like an absolute highlight of the last like year for me. I think. Cyberpunk 2077 games like that, like kind of yeah, open world story driven first person kind of games. I've never vibed too much with things like Dark Souls, partially because like the skill ceiling is a little too high for me. I'm not like
Hmm.
a
I
I'm not like a
tried
super I'm not like a super
a friend,
sweaty
yeah, go.
try hard kind of thing. Go on, mate.
A friend of mine, you try he I think he bought it me. Neo, if you're familiar with that. It's like a Dark Souls
Neo.
style
I haven't heard of
like
that.
I haven't heard of
samurai
it either.
game. It is a lot of fun. It is like the hardest game I think I've ever played. And I like it's one of those games where it's like I have to be in the right mood to play it because
Mhm.
I just like it stresses me out being in a fight. It's like, oh, if I lose this, I'm gonna have to go right, I have to go back, and I'm like I've been on this boss like 50 times. It's generally not the kind of thing that's for me. I'm enjoying that game, but it's like playing a fighting game or something where it's like you have to be in the right mood to be stressed out, otherwise it's like gonna just like destroy you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't play games to be stressed out. Like if I'm playing like
Mhm.
a boomer shooter or whatever, it is genuinely like it's a power fantasy as much as anything else. Not like to the point that like I'm going crazy with it, but like it's the kind of rhythm of clearing places over and over again kind of thing. Like my favorite game of all time is like Half-Life 2, and I've got 767 hours in that looking at it right now, right?
Damn.
And that's a linear single player game, but I've played it over and over again, and I know exactly how the game works. And
Yeah.
it doesn't stress me out at all. There's very much like a kind of comfort to it, I guess.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's nice to have a mix. Like sometimes I'm in the mood for like a really stressful game, and sometimes I'm in the mood for just like I don't know, relaxing and building something. I feel like those like relaxing games are ones I can spend a lot of time on. Like because if I'm trying to play like a really really high octane game, I can maybe play it for like an hour or two before I start like just wanting to take a break. But like with Minecraft, I can sink like a day into that and just get lost because it's I don't know, it's just easy to lose track of time.
Yeah.
I will be honest. Sorry, go on.
No, you go. You go.
I was gonna say, to be honest, the creative games, like I used to be big into like Factorio and that kind of thing, and obviously Minecraft back in the day. They don't really hold me anymore, mostly because like if I'm feeling like a creative impulse or a creative itch, do you know what I do? I work on BTA.
Yeah,
That's true.
That's what that's what I do now.
Yeah.
BTA is coding.
That's
BTA
how I
is
get
my
my
favorite
kicks
game.
in. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It really is.
Oh, sorry.
So no, I was done.
Oh, I was just gonna say I feel similarly when it comes to videos. Whenever I feel the creative itch, that's what I end up doing.
Yeah, that's fair.
I
mean, like,
and I'm happy that I get to do that, but also I agree that I wish I had enough creative energy for both things.
Yeah,
I
do,
exactly.
I've always like on the side now and then done a little bit of like art, like doing drawing and stuff, and that's another thing that's just like if I'm in the mood for something really relaxing or like I want to watch a podcast while doing something, I'll just sit and like draw stuff, and that's another like creative outlet that can kind of take like hours and hours away from your day.
I'm really excited. This is kind of personal, but I'm really excited because my birthday is coming up. It's in
cool. When is it?
Like 3 days.
Oh, happy birthday for 3 days.
Happy birthday in 3 days.
Well, I appreciate it. You see, I know Alan's asleep because he definitely would have said happy birthday, and he's a piece of shit, honestly, for not saying it. But no, fun fact. Before I say that, actually, fun fact, chat. I don't think I ever mentioned this. Alan once got up and took a shower in the middle of an UFR. I don't think I ever said this publicly.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Headset still on, presumably.
Yeah.
No. I had the stream open on YouTube.
But he was definitely in the shower while it was happening, which I find just utterly hilarious.
That is remarkable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You gotta stay on that grind.
Yeah, it was great. Anyways, I get to throw Alan under the bus because he didn't say happy birthday.
That's reasonable.
But yeah, for my birthday, my mom got me a Android based the Retroid Pocket, which is like an Android based emulation handheld, and I'm excited because I learned during this stream that there is an Android based Java Minecraft launcher. And I'm going to try and get Better Than Adventure running on it.
Oh, Pojav.
Yeah.
Is it Pojav?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
not super well supported. We don't officially support it. There are ways to do it.
I'm gonna try my best to get it working because I'm a firm believer that Minecraft is actually best played as a portable game.
The kind of thing that you pick up and put down over and over again throughout the day, kind of thing. I can see that.
Yeah, I made a whole video about why Minecraft on the PS Vita is fucking awesome. And that's one of the reasons why.
If you want to get it working, I do believe one of our developers, Nebula, has a guide on her personal website for how to get it working. So I can send that to you if you want.
I would love that.
There you go.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Because I'm excited to get to tinkering with that thing. It's gonna be really, really fun. But I want to get BTA running on that if I can. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Last thing. Before we close out, what are you guys? What's the future for BTA looking like?
Oh my goodness. Well,
it's a difficult
immediately in the pipeline is like the Nether update, right? Like that's 7.4. We've been saying we're gonna do this goddamn Nether update for literally 3.5 years now, right? Like so the chronology of BTA is like July 2021 was BTA 174, and then like August was 175, September was 176, and then October 2021 was supposed to be like the Halloween update, right? In that specific voice, where we would overhaul the Nether, introduce a bunch of new systems and things like that, and like that was going to be BTA 1.7.7, right?
Yeah.
That ended up not happening. Like we actually ended up throwing away all the work we had done for 1.7.7 because it just got away from us, to be honest.
I think we were trying to do what we did with 1.7.6, where we added a lot of stuff really, really quickly, and then just committed to fixing it later. But it was too much. It broke the camel's back, and
it really did. Yeah. So
the first snapshot that we made was incredibly unoptimized, and I think there was a lot of people that were just like, "Why did you even release this? This doesn't work." And we were like, "Yeah, honestly, we need to take a step back. We're adding too many optimizations at once, and then not properly testing them, and so we then redefined our entire update structure. So instead we do smaller scale updates that are kind of built towards a goal. So the goal of 7.x is to get the Nether content in and finish the Nether update. Once that's done, we'll move on to 8.0, which will be the start, hopefully, of the Paradise content. Well, not Paradise, the Drift. The new name is the Drift. But our new our Skylands inspired dimension that
I'm excited about
to eventually
that.
add.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to start working on that because it's completely original at that point. It's our own definition, which means there's no way to do things wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot more fun to think about because we can I don't know, we're doing a dimension from scratch, so we can get really, really creative with it.
I'm excited to see what you guys come up
with. But the Nether update is also very exciting because it's finally at our doorstep, and that means we finally have the opportunity to start laying things down that have only existed as nebulous concepts for 3 years now.
We've had a mountain of ideas that we've had for about 3 years, and we're finally getting to actually working on them. And I think
a lot of which conflict with each other.
Well, that's kind of what we've been doing. That's part of the reason why 7.3, which was originally supposed to be the Nether update, is not the Nether update, is because we had a big, long talk internally with the developers. Because in the time since... So a lot of the ideas we had for for the Nether update, me and Jonk kind of came up with on our own. And they were kind of scatterbrained, because at the time it was just us, and the ideas just stayed in our head. And we're pretty aligned on most things, so there was no issue of contrast. But then since that time, we've added a bunch of new developers, like Useless and Best, and a bunch of people that don't really have that insight. Yeah, Martin as well. Yeah, people that just don't understand, because they weren't there when we were talking about this stuff, because it was in private dev channels, or they just simply weren't in the server. So we'll mention something that we've had planned for 3 years, and they go, "What is this? I don't know what this is." And so we're like, okay, we need to take a step back and do some. We've made a dev wiki, which we use to kind of bring together internal dev documents and ideas we have, so people can look at it and go, "Oh, okay, this is the plan for the Nether update," and they can build their own new content off of that, or start working on that content.
Yeah.
So yeah, we kind of have things in place now. So 7.4 will be the start. It will be the Nether update. We're doing the Nether biomes, and after that, we'll start working on other exciting things.
Nice.
Yeah, I do find myself wondering what the end point is with this, because we've been I have a fair suspicion that we can continue doing this pretty much indefinitely, right? We've been doing this for 4 years now. And the momentum has slowed a bit, at least for me personally. I don't find myself adding things like seasons in a week like I did in 2021.
No.
But at the same time, it's been a persistent thing for me for all of this time, even if I'm just chiseling away at stuff here and there.
Well, I think I think that it's like two things, right? On one hand, I think because you guys have been doing it for so long, whenever you guys do want to add something like seasons, if you added seasons today, it wouldn't be done in a week, both because I think you guys just want to put more time into things now because you guys are more into it. You guys are more, it's more of an investment. But on the other hand, you guys will also want to release more updates that are kind of not filler's the bad word, but I don't know, hiccup updates where there's one or two things, Secret Saturday kind of style, where it's one or two things here and there. And I feel if you on the latter end, you guys could probably do that for pretty much indefinitely.
We could do.
But I would love to start doing that kind of thing.
The problem is with that is so I think one of the biggest issues is when we first started doing BTA, and it was only we didn't really think we'd last that long. We kind of had a bit of we were more open about our roadmap, because we do have a roadmap. And we were like, okay, we're gonna do the Nether update, then we'll do Paradise, and then that's it. We're cutting it off there. And a lot of people got attached to that. And over time, we've kind of that roadmap still exists, but it's been stretched out. But in between that, we've started focusing on little tiny things, and we've added more little tiny things. That's added like tech debt and feature debt, and now we have to think about, okay, how does this work with what we've added in the time? And we definitely do get distracted, is what I'm trying to say, with adding some stuff. And I think we're trying to fix that a little bit and get back on track, because we've spent maybe like a year and a half not
working on the Nether update. Yeah.
Well,
but
I think the roadmap was originally meant to cover like 6 months or something like that, like from just July to December.
I'm sure we had the impression that we'd get the entire thing done within a year, and then we'd move on and do something else. That didn't happen, of course.
That absolutely did not happen.
Well, I am excited to see what happens. I am a massive fan. I have told people, and I will die on this hill, that Better Than Adventure is the best version of Minecraft I've ever played.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
that. In terms of like game design and the way everything is constructed, it is the best designed version of Minecraft I've ever played. I will recommend Better Than Adventure to people before recommending them actual Minecraft.
Just people on the street.
Yeah, because I genuinely, I absolutely adore Better Than Adventure. People in chat are making fun of me, but it's genuinely like I would if someone were like, what's your favorite game, I would say Better Than Adventure before Minecraft, because to me it's just not even close.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated. It's nice knowing that other people like the stupid things we work on.
Yeah. Also, of course, the passion that's clearly behind the project is very admirable.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a great like creative outlet working on this game, because it is genuinely something that like we can pick up and work on anytime, and like know it's still going to be there, and there's always more to like add to it, you know. And like the restrictions that we have on ourselves in terms of what we can do makes it that much more interesting, really.
I think it's also taught us a lot as well, like about about development in general, because we're now. I like to think we're pretty professional in how we structure our tech stack. Like we have automatic builds, we have a proper ticketing system. We have like these internal dev documents, like stuff that I think a lot of mods don't really have because they're more casual with it, but we like having that organization because it helps keep track of things.
Yeah.
And so we've learned a lot about like development, like from a DevOps perspective, but also like I think we've learned a lot about game design as well, because there's some like roadblocks we've come into where we've gone, people like I'll give a great example. The trommel is, I think, the biggest game design roadblock that we have had working on the mod, because there is like a schism between the types of people that like to use. There's a schism between the way people use it and the way that we envision people would use it, and it is really, really hard to marry those together. And that's kind of made me think about things a bit more critically, and that might be part of the reason why we don't add things in a week, like Junk said, like seasons, because it's like now we're thinking, okay, how does this like affect this part of the game or that part of the game? Whereas before, I'm pretty sure just fuck it, let's have seasons, it's fun.
Even if like a lot of the stuff that we did originally, like very early on, we did pretty much knock out of the park, to be honest. Like a lot of the stuff that hasn't changed just because we really did quite well. So I think instinctually as well, we've always kind of we've tried to do what feels right to us in like our gut feeling without considering it too much. And I think that generally steers us quite well as well. Like there's a balance between like critical examination of what we could add and like our intuitive feeling of what's right and what's not.
The surprising thing is, I think working on BTA, if anything else, has given me more respect for Mojang. At least, at least working on 1.8 and 1.0, because I understand. I mean, we have the benefit of hindsight, and we've had a lot more time than they have to like add the stuff.
Yeah.
And so like I'm thinking like, wow, it is actually kind of impressive that they did all that within the span of like 6 months, and Minecraft still exists and is still like going strong because of that.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of, I don't know, it gave me like I understand, like I maybe don't agree with why they made some decisions, but I do understand like
the work that went into
the thought process. Like with the biomes, I understand the thought process behind it. They wanted they envisioned the game would go on for a long time. They wanted a more modular biome system, so it was easier to add biomes in the future. Like, I completely get that, but before I would have just gone, why did they do this? This is shit. Why did they make it worse?
Yeah.
Like there is a lot to criticize about like modern Minecraft, or like a lot of things to criticize about modern Minecraft in terms of like some of the decisions they've made. But Minecraft is the best-selling game of all time, and people, like millions of people, are still playing it every single day after 16 years. That is unimaginable. I can't think of a single other game like that.
Whatever they did, it worked.
Yeah,
like,
no, they did a good job.
Yeah, exactly. I think part of it is just because it is very much everything to everyone, sort of. Like it does so many things, and it covers almost all of them reasonably well.
And it's also very modular as well, like, which is part of the reason stuff like BTA can exist, because like we can add stuff without really affecting other parts of the game and tuck in other mods. So like, you know, if somebody wants to play Minecraft but like with a crazy tech mod that adds nuclear power and all this kind of stuff, they can just do that like really easily. And I think that's part of the reason it stuck around so long.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that basically concludes our coverage. I think. I pretty much knocked everything that I wanted to ask you guys.
Nice.
So I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah. What do you guys think of being on the show? Was it horrible? Did you hate it?
This is really cool.
It's been a really unique experience. Thank you.
We've never done like a podcast or an interview or anything. Like the closest that we've come to doing something like this is like the dev streams that we do very, very sporadically. And for the most part, those are kind of just me chatting to myself for about 3 hours while no clipping around BTA. This is much more engaging than that. It's also kind of strange because like Mac and I don't really talk over like voice ever.
No.
Like our development and like the team's development in general is almost entirely like text chat. So it's cool to get to like talk in this kind of way.
It is.
It's kind of a rare treat for us. I mean, we could do it more, but I think the workflow that we have works quite well for us.
It does, yeah. It makes it easy to like get up and come back and continue working on stuff. You have to like designate time to, okay, we're gonna have a meeting at this time and we're gonna figure out
team meeting at 8 p.m. tonight. Yeah,
we're gonna do weekly stand-ups now.
Yeah, exactly. Daily stand-ups.
Daily stand-ups, yeah. Sprints. Going full agile with BTA.
Exactly. Yeah, we're never going to get that professional because like it's a fairly asynchronous thing, and we don't have hard deadlines apart from the one deadline that I think now is a good time to mention. Cough, cough.
We should, before we wrap up, we should announce exclusive to the Under Further Review podcast. The 7.3 update will be coming out tomorrow at 6 p.m. GMT. So get ready for that.
Woo. That was a good segue, though, right? That was a very good segue.
Yeah, very slick.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
we all pat each other on the
cool.
back.
Well, that bombshell.
For the record, if you guys would ever be interested in coming on again for like a more traditional episode, or
anytime,
just to talk about anything, you guys are always welcome back on. It was great to have you guys.
Thank you very much.
Great to be here.
Yeah. Before we go, I did want to say I have a video that I have announced and delayed once, and I'm gonna delay it again because I started editing it today, and I realized that the scope that I was trying to go for, it's not gonna happen because I wanted this to be the first video in which I incorporated my face in the video and did kind of in like a splicing of the like the webcam footage versus like my normal editing, and it just does not work. And I spent an entire day trying to get that to work, and it's just not happening. So that combined with my girlfriend's birthday was last week and my birthday is this week, and also college just started. All these things mean that the video is just going to have to be delayed like one more week, and I'm really sorry about that. I like to hit the ground running when the new year starts, and this video is going to be great when it's done. The script is written, I just have to edit it. It's just going to take a little bit longer, so please bear with me. I'm really, really sorry. I don't like delaying things. I like to be more on point than I am, but I hope you guys understand. So thank you. Yeah, I will. That said, the good news is you guys are going to be getting streams instead. So while I'm not working on the video, and I'm taking a break and doing birthday stuff, there will be a birthday stream probably on the 28th as leading into midnight on the 29th to celebrate the birthday. So, get excited for that. Yeah. I hope you all are excited for the video. It's going to be a good one. And yeah. Thank you, Jonk. Thank you, Mac, for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you very much.
It's been a lot of fun.
And bye-bye, everybody.